You can announce it and then I'll start.
One quick thing, Shubhamalini, Ms. Shaktivel is joining. You're unmuted. You have to unmute. Please
He had to leave. He got some personal emergencies, Sujata. I'm sorry.
I think. Welcome, very good evening to one and all. I would like to invite Mr. Prabhu Bala, Vice Chairman, Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, for his formal welcome remarks. Mr. Prabhu.
Yeah. Vanakkam and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Prabhu Bala, Vice Chairman at Indo-American Chamber of Commerce. So it gives me a great pleasure to extend you all a very warm welcome on behalf of Indo-American Chamber of Commerce and our partners, MSME Trade and Investment Promotion Bureau, to be part of this webinar Industry 4.0, focusing on digital transformation for MSME industries. As a quick intro about Indo-American Chamber of Commerce. So we got established in 1968, and the Chamber is the apex bilateral organization which synergizes India and US economic engagements. And we are spread across 12 offices across India, covering most of the northern India, the east and west and south, 12 locations. And for the south, the Chennai office is heading the operations. And the chamber is promoting bilateral trade, investments, technology transfers, facilitates business collaborations between India and the US companies, joint ventures, marketing tie-ups, many strategy alliances, and these are all being done through well-planned, proactive, business-oriented initiatives. I offer my earnest welcome to our immediate past president, Mr. S. Sundaram, and also the managing director of Lincoln Electric India Private Limited. And he will be today delivering his keynote address and will be talking in detail about Industry 4.0. I would also like to welcome our new member, Mr. Sunil David, who is a digital tech consultant. And along with him, Mr. Sundaram had put this wonderful program, and Sunil will also help us to moderate the entire technical session. And of course, he will also do the concluding remarks. I sincerely thank and welcome all our guest speakers, Mr. Shivaram Srinivasan from Mel Systems and Services, Dr. Aravind Tilak from Ascent, Mr. Soham Kalev, Head of Sales, Marine Fabrics, Mr. Adarsh Kumar, who is the CEO of Tagbox, Mr. Sandeep, who is the founder and CEO of Going Digital, Sunil, who is going to be the moderator. He's a digital tech consultant. And of course, Shaktivel, of course, he is not there and he's being represented by Subhamalini from the MSME department. And, they are our best friends, and, they've been very proactive in promoting this Industry 4.0 with Indo-American Chamber of Commerce. The next few minutes is going to be very interesting. And, without much delay, I would like to introduce Mr. Sundaram as well. And Mr. Sundaram has been in various key positions, such as President Rane Brakes Limited. He was also the Managing Director of ESAB India for their global operations. He was working out of London for quite some time. And also he was heading a company called Cosmos Film. Basically, they had locations throughout the world. And currently, he is heading as the Managing Director of Lincoln Electric India. Sundaram has completed his BTech Mechanical from IIT Madras, one of the prestigious institutions. And of course, more prestigious is that, he has done his MBA from IIM Calcutta. And he has got more than 20 years of experience, leading manufacturing organizations, which have multinational companies. So now it's back to Mr. Sundaram for the keynote address.
Thank you, Mr. Prabhu. Thank you for the warm welcome and the introduction. So without further ado, I will now share my screen. Is my screen visible and am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you're perfect. Mr. Sundaram, you can go ahead.
Guessing that the answer to both is yes. So without any further, okay, sorry. Yeah. All clear?
It's to be in presentations, slideshow mode, please.
Yeah, I will do that. I will do that. Okay. So once again, welcome everyone. And this webinar on digital transformation, we are going to try to, I think all of you must have by now attended webinars or heard about digital transformation, Industry 4.0, etc., etc. But this webinar is going to be focused. Everybody says, our webinar is different and so on, but this is going to be truly different because this is going to focus on how you can actually implement Industry 4.0. It is not so much about theory, what is Industry 4.0, etc., etc., but what are the benefits of Industry 4.0 and how you can actually implement it in a short while and at a reasonable cost. So these are the factors which is going to differentiate this webinar. So I would suggest to everyone that perhaps the next couple of hours may be transformational for your industry. Now, here's what I want to say. I mean, all of you would have heard about first industrial revolution, second industrial revolution, third, etc., etc., etc. But just to sort of, if you look at the second industrial revolution, early 20th century, and that is the time when electricity was introduced in a very big way across factories. Is it possible to imagine a factory today which runs without electricity? The answer is obviously no. Then we look at the third industrial revolution, which had computers, PLCs, etc. Can you imagine a factory today which can run without computers and PLC? A company which can run without computers and PLCs, a manufacturing organization? I very much doubt it. What I'm trying to say with these two examples is that when the very meaning of an industrial revolution is it's a revolution. Something changes and it changes permanently, and those that don't change along with it just get left behind. For example, people in the 20 years from now, just as you will be asking, how is it possible for an industry to manage without digitalization? Which means, how is it possible to manage without Internet of Things? How is it able to, how will an industry manage without all the, without everything that comes with digitalization? Now, you may well say that what exactly is this? One of the most important aspects of digitalization is Internet of Things and artificial intelligence and a number of other technologies which make up a smart factory. Now you can say, what is this smart factory? I've got a factory which works just as well, and I'm quite smart, so I can make my factory run. But let's take, for example, now everybody, I think all of us have smartphones. Let's just imagine a situation where we go to, I don't know, some village or some town where people all have the regular old, Nokia 3310 phones. And they're quite happy with those phones in this town. How will you convince them? How will you tell them that this is not the right way? This is not, this working with smartphones is a completely different way. They would tell you that, well, I can call anyone. Well, you can't see movies on your phone. That's okay. I'll see movies on my TV. You can't get email on your phone. Oh, that's okay. I can get email on my laptop. So it's, as I said, it is not just the material benefits, but when you have a smart factory, the complete way of working will change. It will completely change, and it will make, just like dumb phones have now become obsolete, a smart factory will make the dumb factories obsolete. Let me show you a picture. This is a picture, a live picture, which actually is from one of the screens. It came in our factory. As a very old one. This happened during, if I recall right, this was during May 2020 when the government had introduced a complete ban on people inside the factory, and they allowed, I think at that time we were allowed 20 people inside our factory. We normally have 250. So we were allowed only 20 people. So all the non-essential staff, all the supervisory staff had to stay outside the factory so that only productive workers could be in, and we ran only the essential machines. So you can see here on the screen that this is what it was. And our people are all watching what is happening on the screen. And they are able to communicate with the workers in real time. என்னப்பா இந்த மெஷின் ஓடல, இந்த மெஷின் எதுக்கு ஸ்லோவா ஓடிட்டு இருக்கு, இது என்ன பிரேக் டவுன், ஆர் இஃப் தேர் இஸ் அ பிரேக் டவுன், they would then ask, என்னப்பா பிரேக் டவுன், என்ன ப்ராப்ளம் சார், எனக்கு தெரியல சார், இது ஏதோ இது மாதிரி ஷாஃப்ட் மாட்டின்னு இருக்கு. And the concerned person in maintenance will be able to respond to them and tell them that yes, this is what you need to do. So I mean, this is just one of the examples I'm giving, but it will be a completely different way of working when you come to a smart factory. So I'm not saying that we are yet a smart factory, but these are some of the things that we have, which made it possible for us to work even during COVID times, work at home times, which made life much easier for us. As I said, it's like having a smartphone versus having a dumb phone. So now you may ask, okay, what is the smart factory about? And what are the benefits which are going to come out of it? So apart from the benefits, we have to look at, what's really driving this change is that right now, the cost of digitalization is very low. The cost of putting sensors, the cost of communication, cost of setting up this factory has really become quite low compared to what it was in the past. Now, what do I mean by changing lifestyles? See, in the past, we used to, one of the important things we used to do with our workmen was train them in English and numbers, what they should write down, how they should enter records, how they should enter logs, and keep record, how much is the production, what is the quality parameter, all that we had to train the workmen. And some of them were finding it difficult. Today, everybody works out of their smartphone. So they have this smartphone and very straightforward. Oh, இவ்வளவுதானா சார், இது வந்து இந்த நம்பர் அழுத்தணுமா? Okay, fine. We just have to press this number, put a drop down, press this number, and that's all, that's entered. So it makes life easy for the worker as well. So he's used to a smartphone, he's used to working in the factory, easy for him to record. This is what I mean by, the way things are changing. The other thing is customer expectations. I want to give you an example of one customer. This is just one customer, and he is, of course, one example of many such customers who will be there. See, these people, this customer has a large factory which makes vehicles. I won't tell you what type of vehicles, then you know who the customer is. But what they do is they have this system, all their vendors have this system, this Internet of Things system at their end. And they get this, the vendor, this the customer is based in Chennai. His suppliers are based in places like Gurgaon, Noida, many other such places. And he gets real-time information. What is the status of his production? How many parts have been produced in that factory? He also knows the lead time. How many of those are good parts? How much is rejection? So all that he keeps track. So he gets goods in just-in-time basis, and he is sure that he's never going to run out of stock because he's monitoring production at the vendor's end, just like he's monitoring his own production. This is the way that things are changing in the world today. See, now I come to implementation. When I talked about implementation, it's like, suppose you want to buy an accounting solution. You want to buy an accounting solution for your factory. You can go and buy Tally, or if you're a larger company, you can go for SAP, or any of the other well-known Oracle, any of the other well-known ERP systems. It's readily available off the shelf. Unfortunately, there is no readily available off the shelf, well-known standard system like this, because one, every factory is different. I'll give you an example. We have implemented our Internet of Things in many different factories across. We have in our company, ours is a US-based company, and we have many factories across the globe. But in trying to implement even in 4 or 5 factories which make the same product, identical, same product, but the factories are different. The type of machinery is different. The age of those machineries is different. The process sequence is different, although the product is the same. And the net result is, what is a standard IoT system, Internet of Things system, for one factory is not easily replicable for another factory. This is the problem that we have today. And here, of course, which is why we have put together a program where you will have a number of people who are speaking, who have actually had success in implementing these. So if you have someone who can provide a complete turnkey solution for your factory, you are already there. You are halfway there. Again, when I say, you will say, if I implement this and I'm going to invest a lot of money in it, how do I know that benefits are going to come? How do I know that things are going to work? How do I know that it is something which is suitable for our company? What if the technology is too high tech and we are not able to handle it? Okay, firstly, that is unlikely to be the case. But if so, here is an example. I'll give you an example. Now, LWSoft is a software that is used, that we have developed, that our company Lincoln Electric has developed, and we offer this to various different companies that do welding. Now, you have different modules in this. You have production module, you have quality module, you have cost module. So what you can do is, you try out one module, whichever for you. For example, the first and most urgent priority, maybe for most people, it is production. How much production am I getting? How much is my downtime? Are all my machines being equally productive? Are my workers being equally productive, or somebody is doing less production? This is mostly the priority for most people. But fine, some people, for them, quality might be the big issue right now. So you can try it out in one module. You can even try it out in 1 or 2 machines. That's how we put it. You try it out in a limited number of machines, try out a limited module, see if you like it. It's not that you have to put, like, let's say an ERP system, you have to put the entire system and then find that, it's very difficult to implement. You put one module, you put it for 1 machine, you put it for 2 machines, see how it works, and then go forward. This is why I said, this webinar is going to be different, because this will give you an idea of how you can actually go about implementing. So when you're looking at your implementer, you must always say that I will start in a small way and build up slowly. This is what I would recommend. Of course, if you are familiar with IoT systems and you know them in advance, you can well say, okay, I will go for implementation for my entire factory. This is an example. Again, as I said, how you can monitor is just one of the many. You will see literally hundreds of things on your screen, but here you can see, how you are monitoring that in a welding machine, how you monitor the real-time amps, volts, etc. And you can see what is analysis. How much has there been a deviation, which is what is important for you. If everything is going normally, it's okay. But if there's a deviation, what is the kind of deviation? Okay. Now, sorry, if I go back to this, yeah. Here is a cost reduction which we had done for one of our customers, where they found that by monitoring, they found that their average gas which they are using is very, very high. And we were able to give them a simple suggestion of how to reduce the gas flow rate and keep it, monitor that with our system so that they are able to save substantial amount of money. They can save 1 lakh of rupees per annum. And what is the cost of the machine? The cost of the machine itself is 1 lakh, but they are able to save 1 lakh per annum. The cost of their welding machine is 1 lakh, but they are able to save 1 lakh per annum on that machine. Now, other is this. You can see there's a major manufacturer of boilers, and he had a quality problem, and that quality problem was happening because of amperage deviation. So there's a lot of deviation which you can see happening in the screen, and that was really the problem that he was having, which we were able to highlight and show him that this is the problem that is happening. So all these I'm just showing as examples. One thing which I would like to talk to you about, and this is something again I'm giving you this as implementation advice. When you're looking at implementation, you need to consider security as well, not just the benefits, because when you start connecting, as you may have found, when you start connecting your factory with the internet, you automatically you're exposed to some issues. All of you must have heard about malware, virus, this, that. So you have to make sure that machines are protected. See, unlike when you introduce some automated system for your accounting, one of the things you have to make sure that your accounts are protected. But here, that is not the issue. Here, the issue is you have to make sure that your machines are protected and your people's safety is taken care of in case a hacker is able to hack into your machine. Now, one of the things which they talk about is artificial intelligence. And they say that, this is like electricity was in the second industrial revolution. Artificial intelligence will be the important thing in the next industrial revolution. And here is an example. What is this artificial intelligence? Now, this is an example of a report that we get in our factory once when we operate this. So this will come out as a report. Say you take last week. Yes, you asked your virtual assistant, your virtual lean champion, we call it the VLC. Ask for a report. What all happened last week? Please tell me. So a complete report will come out. Did you achieve your targets? Did you not achieve the targets? And if you have not achieved, what were the reasons? One machine had this higher downtime. Some welder or some particular person had some big problem. He's not faring well. His productivity is low. Or there was some problem that, you are having a regular breakdown on this machine, something like that. So these are the kind of things that an artificial intelligence report will tell you, which normally you will have to ask your production people. And at the end of it, you may not even be sure that you're getting the right information to take a decision. All that kind of thing is avoided in the meetings. All that is avoided. You just straight away get the report. Now, this is, another example. Now, this is called machine learning. What is machine learning? How is it different from artificial intelligence? Not much. Anyway, you don't need to know the difference right now between the two. But the advantage of machine learning is that you do not have to sit and define programs and rules for the computer. For example, in production, you might have to say, which operator has performed worse than other operators? Which operator has performed worse with respect to his past? All that you have to give some certain rules, and you arrive at that when you come at artificial intelligence. In this, you do not. You give the computer a lot of data. And the computer itself, for example, here you can see the computer has calculated when the machine is running, that green line which you see here, this green line is what our machine learning program has calculated, that this is how the green line should be when the machine is running, what the energy consumption should be. And you can see here the pink line shows what is the actual energy consumption. Quite close, we are quite happy. We are not worried, and the machine will also tell us, are we deviating? So all this, if there is a big deviation in energy or consuming too much energy, maybe some bearing is broken, some belt is very tight, all that, if you're consuming too much energy, the alert will come to you that something is wrong. This is another example. I would not go by this too much, but this is another example of how machine learning can be used to identify quality and quality issues. For instance, it will identify you once you feed in enough data into it, it will identify for you what is a good product, what is a bad product. This is another where machine learning is going. So broadly, as I'm saying, with this, I will conclude saying that I'm just giving you a flavor. I'm giving you an idea that what is a smart factory? What really is, will you see differently in a smart factory? You might have seen a number of different things, automated reports coming out, or automatically, factories telling the machine telling you which is a good product, bad product. Are you consuming the right amount of energy or not? All of these things and information coming to you in real time. You do not have to wait and say, the data all that kind of thing is avoided. So with this, I would strongly recommend that since the digital revolution has started, it is time for everybody to embrace it. A lot of the companies, the larger companies, have embraced it, which is why this webinar is specifically for MSMEs. So I would strongly recommend that you go in for it and look at now the rest of the webinar as to what is going to happen. How you can actually make it happen inside your factory. So with this, thank you very much for listening to me, and I will now hand over to Mr. Sunil David, I'll hand over to Sujata first to introduce Mr. Sunil David, who will be your moderator.
Great, so thank you very much. It was a wonderful you to run through the keynote address. It was very helpful for the audience, hopefully. I would now be happy to introduce you to Mr. Sunil David, who is a well-known IoT industry thought leader with over 28 years of experience in IT and telecom industry, of which he had spent almost 20 years with AT&T as a regional director, where he was responsible for building the IoT strategy, sales, business development, and also worked on building a robust IoT partner ecosystem. In his new phase of life, Sunil will be advising and consulting AI and IoT startups that are aspiring for the next level of growth. He has been a recipient of a number of awards and recognitions, including 6 awards in 2021 and 3 this year in recognition for his work in digital technology advocacy, digital skilling initiatives, etc. With this, I would like to hand it over to Mr. Sunil David. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Sujata and Mr. Sundaram. That was a great presentation, and I like the way you said that the focus of this whole webinar is going to be about implementation. What are the challenges? And it's going to be less on tech, and some of the points that you made about the benefits, the low cost of digitalization, the changing lifestyles, customer expectations, and the fact that you shared use cases about the use of IoT and AI. So very, very relevant, especially in AI when you talked about how it can be used in production and quality and so on. So thank you so much for that wonderful keynote. Let's move on to the next presentation. For that, I would like to invite Mr. Shivkumar Srinivasan, who is the Chief Operating Officer of MEL Systems and Services Limited. Welcome, Mr. Shivkumar. Mr. Shivkumar is a professional with over 18 years of experience providing solutions in information technology and industrial automation. He is an alumnus of Temasek Polytechnic Singapore, Monash University Australia, University of Western Australia, and Chennai Business School with qualification in IT systems and business management. Prior to joining MELS, Shivkumar worked in Singapore, delivering mission-critical software applications for finance, insurance, and retail industries. He comes with a very strong background in software and a passion for engineering and technology. He has been part of designing and implementing large-scale multi-tier software applications for MES tracking and traceability and IoT solutions for manufacturing solutions industry. Mr. Shivkumar, the stage is yours. Please take it away from here.
Yep. Thank you very much, Mr. Sunil, and I thank everyone for giving me this opportunity here. Let me just share my screen. Can you just confirm that my screen is in full screen mode and you can see it clearly?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you very much. And so I think I'll just take the next 15 minutes to quickly run through. Thank you once again. I'm Shiv Kumar and I'm from MEL Systems and Services Limited. So I'll just take a minute to introduce ourselves. And I've also been requested that I probably make the presentation Tamil where possible. So I'll try and do that. If any of you have any questions, feel free to put it on the chat box and we can take it up later. So yeah, MELS, we are from Chennai, Nangor Engineering and Technology Company. We have 148 employees. We have presence all over the country with branch offices in different locations for sales and support. So in a business, main area we provide automation solutions in mechanical area, electrical control systems, and for industrial automation. Mechanical pata robotics, metal handling, conveying systems. We also do a lot of work with PLCs, instrumentation, field instrumentation, weighing systems, and when it comes to software, SCADA, HMI type of software, all plant information systems. So anything shop floor data collection applications, we do with barcoding or OPC based data and IoT solutions. So industry 4.0 MELS, okay, there are commonly you would have heard, there are 9 main pillars, and MELS, we work in 5 areas of them. We work in IoT, cloud computing work pandrom. We do system integration for plant automation. We work on robotics and of course on big data. So smart factory solutions. So this is the buzzword. There are different terminologies being used, digital factory, smart factory solutions. And in the area of Pata, we provide solutions for tracking, tracing, end-to-end traceability, mistake proofing applications, and of course for real-time machine monitoring. So it could be existing production solutions, energy monitoring applications, or overall equipment efficiency. In fact, I have a case study also I will present, which is on the OEE type of an application. And today, because of the digital factory applications, handheld and mobility. So handheld scanners use pandratho, or mobile phone use panni data monitor pandrathuko, we provide solutions. And of course, most organizations have ERP type of system or SAP or ERP system or warehouse system. Idhula integration panano. Data entry that is unnecessary repetition of task. So there we have to do optimization. So adukku data integration ko nanga support pandrom. So some photographs or screenshots of applications that we develop. So machine monitoring ko or traceability ko solution kodkarthukku. So specifically, my presentation is more on the IIoT solutions. So IIoT in Industrial Internet of Things. And in Industrial Internet of Things, different layers. Or solution, or hardware or sensor solution. So depending on the size of the organization, right from enna sensor enna information capture the selection layer, capture evlo frequency capture panano and அதை எப்படி transmit பண்ணனும் இந்த இன்ஃபர்மேஷனை அந்த அளவுக்கு நமக்கு எல்லாமே அதுல சொல்யூஷன்ல ரொம்ப முக்கியம் செலக்ஷன் ஒன்னு தப்பானா கூட நமக்கு சொல்யூஷனோட சக்சஸ் அப்படிங்கிறது it could be a potential problem and so இதுல MELS we work all through the stack up to reporting and visualization வரைக்கும் we provide the solutions. So and in solution பாத்தீங்கன்னா it's not only standard solutions, we also have customized IIoT solutions. The next few slides now ஒரு standard எங்களோட few products காமிக்கிறேன் but customized solution ஒரு சில கஸ்டமர்ஸ்க்கு அவங்களுக்குன்னு ஒரு ஸ்பெசிபிக் இன்ஃபர்மேஷனை கேப்சர் பண்றதுக்கோ ஒரு ஸ்பெசிபிக் மெஷின் இருக்கலாம் அதுல IIoT டைப் ஆஃப் அப்ளிகேஷன் இன்டர்ஃபேஸ் பண்ணணும்னாலும் நாங்க அந்த சொல்யூஷனை பில்ட் பண்ணி கொடுக்குறோம் and with different type of connectivity GSM பேஸ்ல இருக்கலாம் சிம் கார்டு போடுற மாதிரியோ இல்ல ஒரு ப்ளூடூத் GPS வச்சே or Zigbee Wi-Fi any of that we are able to do. So MELS we have a few different products. So first we call it as NFC reader. 6-dime அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு brandல we have a NFC reader. So இது வந்து normally ஒரு object track பண்ணனும் or identify பண்ணனும் அப்படினா இந்த RFID டெக்னாலஜிக்கு சிமிலர். இப்போ NFC வந்து நிறைய மொபைல் போன்லயும் வந்துருச்சு. ஸோ ஒரு ஆப்ஜெக்ட் ட்ராக் பண்றதுல ஈஸியா வந்து என்னன்னு ஐடென்டிஃபை பண்ணலாம். ஆனா பார்கோட் மாதிரி ஒரு விசிபிலிட்டி தேவையில்லை. ஓகே, நியர் ஃபீல்ட் கம்யூனிகேஷன் சொல்லிட்டு இது வந்து வி ப்ரொவைட் த ஹார்ட்வேர். ஸோ எனி ஆப்ஜெக்ட் ட்ராக் பண்ண, ஒரு மோல்டை ட்ராக் பண்ணணும் ஆர் ஒரு பர்டிகுலர் பேலட்டை ட்ராக் பண்ணணும்னா இந்த ஹார்ட்வேர் வச்சு நம்மளால பண்ண முடியும். அதை ஈஸியா உங்களோட IT/OT சிஸ்டமோட இன்டெகிரேட் பண்ணலாம். 6-Dime Atomனு ஒரு ப்ராடக்ட் இருக்கு. இதுல வந்து we have it's a typical IoT node அப்படின்னு சொல்லலாம். வேர் இன்ஃபர்மேஷனை ஃபீல்ட்ல இருந்து கலெக்ட் பண்றது, டிஃப்ரெண்ட் டைப் ஆஃப் சென்சர்ஸ்ல இருந்து ஃபீல்ட்ல இருந்து கலெக்ட் பண்ணிட்டு இந்த இன்ஃபர்மேஷனை சர்வருக்கு டிரான்ஸ்மிட் பண்றது. ஒரு ப்ரொடக்ஷன் டேட்டா எவ்வளவு ஓடுது, இல்ல ஒரு டெம்பரேச்சர் எவ்வளவு இருக்கு, ஒரு ப்ரெஷர் எவ்வளவு இருக்குங்கிற டேட்டா எடுக்கணும்னா அதை எடுத்து நம்மளால சர்வருக்கு டிரான்ஸ்மிட் பண்ணிக்கலாம். அதுக்கப்புறம் அங்க ரிப்போர்ட்டிங் ஆர் விஷுவலைசேஷன் பண்ண முடியும். நிறைய பேர் உங்க ஃபேக்டரியில HMIs இருக்கும். வேர் அது வந்து டிபிக்கலி உங்க மெஷின் கண்ட்ரோலரோட பேசுற மாதிரி ஒரு HMI இருக்கும். ஆனா அதுல பாத்தீங்கன்னா உங்களுக்கு IT இன்ஃபர்மேஷனை காமிக்கிறது கொஞ்சம் கஷ்டம். HMIs வந்து மெயினா PLCயோட லிங்க் பண்றதுக்கோ ஒரு கண்ட்ரோலரோட இருக்கிறதுக்கு தான். ஆனா நமக்கு இப்போ லெட்டஸ்ட் ஒரு ஃபேக்டரியில ஒரு ஸ்டாண்டர்ட் ஆப்ரேட்டிங் ப்ரொசீஜர் காமிக்கணும், ரியல் டைம்ல ஒரு இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் பார்க்கணும் அப்படின்னா அந்த ஃபங்க்ஷனாலிட்டிக்காக ஒரு டிஸ்பிளேயும் வச்சிருக்கோம். அது we call it as Hex IoT. எங்களோட ஒன் ஆஃப் த மோர் சக்சஸ்ஃபுல் ப்ராடக்ட்ஸ் வந்து எட்ஜ் பாக்ஸ் அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு ப்ராடக்ட். இது வந்து இப்போ டிபிக்கலி எல்லா SME கம்பெனிஸ்ல IoT இம்ப்ளிமெண்ட் பண்ணும்போது காமனா வர ஒரு சேலஞ்ச், எங்க கண்ட்ரோலர்ஸ் ஓல்டு கண்ட்ரோலர், எங்க கிட்ட PLCயே கிடையாது, ஓல்டு மெஷின்ஸ் இருக்கு, ரிலே பேஸ்ட் மெஷின்ஸ் இருக்கு. ஸோ இது எல்லா ப்ராடக்ட்ல லோ காஸ்ட்ல வி வாண்ட் டு இம்ப்ளிமெண்ட் அ சொல்யூஷன். இது எப்படி நான் IoT எனேபிள் ஆக்குறது, இன்டெலிஜென்ட் ஆக்குறது அப்படிங்கிற கொஸ்டின் வரும்போது இந்த ப்ராடக்ட் அதுக்காகவே டிசைன் பண்ண சொல்யூஷன். IOS இருக்கு, நம்மளால ஃபீல்ட் சென்சர்ஸ்லயோ ஸ்விட்சஸ்லயோ கனெக்ட் பண்ணிக்க முடியும். அதுல சின்ன டிஸ்பிளேவும் கொடுத்துருக்கோம். பார்கோட் ஸ்கேனர்ஸ் கனெக்ட் பண்ணலாம். ஸ்டாண்டர்ட் அப்ளிகேஷன்ஸ் லைக் மிஸ்டேக் ப்ரூஃபிங், ட்ரேசபிலிட்டி அப்ளிகேஷன், சிங்கிள் பேஜ் ஃப்ளோ ஆர் OEE-க்காக இம்ப்ளிமெண்ட் பண்ணலாம். ஸோ டிபிக்கல் சேலஞ்சஸ் ஃபேஸ்ட் பை MSMEs அப்படின்னு பார்த்தோம்னா ஃபர்ஸ்ட் வந்து ரியல் டைம் விசிபிலிட்டி ஆஃப் ஆப்ரேஷன்ஸ். ஸோ ஃபேக்டரியில் என்ன நடக்குது அப்படின்னு தெரியும்னா யாருக்காவது ஒரு ஃபோன் பண்ணணும், என்னப்பா நடக்குதுன்னு கேட்கலாம் ஃபேக்டரியில. இல்லாட்டி எண்ட் ஆஃப் டே ஒரு ரிப்போர்ட் இருக்கும், அதை வச்சு பார்க்க முடியும். ஆர் இன்னொரு ப்ராப்ளம் என்னன்னா எல்லாம் மேனுவலா என்ட்ரி தான் பண்ணி கொடுப்பாங்க. இவ்வளோ இன்னைக்கு ப்ரொடியூஸ் ஆயிருச்சுன்னு சொன்னா அதுதான் டேட்டா இருக்கும். நம்ம அப்புறமா ஆக்சுவல் ரீகன்சிலியேஷன் பண்ணா தேர் மே பி அ டிஃபரன்ஸ், ஒத்து போகாம இருக்கலாம். மிஸ்டேக்ஸ், நிறைய எரர் நடக்கலாம். பீப்புள் வந்து ஒரு பார்ட்டை மெஷின்ல லோட் பண்றதுக்கு பதிலாக ராங் மெஷின் பார்ட்டை லோட் பண்றபடி இருக்கும். இல்லாட்டி செட்டிங்ஸை தப்பா செட் பண்ணியிருப்பாங்க மெஷின்ல ரன் பண்ணும்போது. ஒரு CNC மெஷினோ இல்லாட்டி ஒரு ப்ராசஸிங் ஒரு ப்ரெஸ்ஸா இருக்குன்னா அந்த செட்டிங்ஸை மாத்தி போட்டிருக்கலாம். ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி மிஸ்டேக்ஸ் நிறைய MSMEஸ்ல நடக்குது. அடுத்தது மேன் பவர் டிப்ளாய்மென்ட், ஹையர் மேன் பவர் டிப்ளாய்மென்ட். ஏன் ஹையர்னு சொல்றோம்? உங்களோட காம்படிஷன் குட் பி அ லார்ஜ் ஸ்கேல் ஆர்கனைசேஷன். இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு என்டர்பிரைஸ் இருக்கும்போது அதே வேலையை செய்யறதுக்கு அவங்க எவ்வளவு மேன் பவர் டிப்ளாய் பண்றாங்களோ அதை கம்பேர் பண்ணும்போது டிபிக்கலி MSMEல அதிக மேன் பவர் டிப்ளாய் பண்ண வேண்டியிருக்கு. ஏன்னா அவ்வளவு இன்ஃப்ராஸ்ட்ரக்சர் இல்லாதால. இதுவும் ஒரு ப்ராப்ளம். சம்டைம்ஸ் வெறும் சூப்பர்வைஸ் பண்றதுக்கோ டேட்டா என்ட்ரி பண்றதுக்கோ அதுக்காகவும் மேன் பவரை போட வேண்டியிருக்கு. அதர் ப்ராப்ளம் இஸ் நார்மலா ஒரு இண்டஸ்ட்ரி 4.0க்கு நம்ம வரணும் அப்படின்னு சொன்னாலே லார்ஜ் இன்வெஸ்ட்மெண்ட்ஸ் பண்ணணும், என்னோட எக்ஸிஸ்டிங் மெஷின் எல்லாம் அப்கிரேட் பண்ணணும், அதுக்கு நிறைய செலவாகும் அப்படிங்கிறதும் ஒரு டிபிக்கல் ப்ராப்ளம் இன் MSMEs. அண்ட் ஒரு இண்டஸ்ட்ரி 4.0ன்னு சொல்றாங்களே when we have to implement IoT அப்படின்னா ஹோல் ஹாக் ஒரே செட்ல எல்லாமே நான் இம்ப்ளிமெண்ட் பண்ணணுமா, இல்ல ஃபேஸ்டா நான் கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சம் இந்த ஏரியாவுக்கு மட்டும் பண்றது அந்த ஏரியாவுக்கு பண்ணலாமாங்கிறது ஒரு டிபிக்கல் சேலஞ்ச் MSMEs ஃபேஸ் பண்றது. அண்ட் லாஸ்ட், அதுல இருக்கிற நாலேஜ். யூ மே பி சப்ஜெக்ட் எக்ஸ்பர்ட் இன் யார் ப்ராடக்ட். நீங்க என்ன டெவலப் பண்றீங்களோ, என்ன உங்களோட மேனுஃபேக்சரிங், அதுல நீங்க சப்ஜெக்ட் எக்ஸ்பர்ட்டா இருக்கலாம். உங்களுக்கு இன்டர்னல் ரிசோர்ஸ் இல்லாம இருக்கலாம் டு ஹெல்ப் யூ அண்ட் கைட் யூ. அண்ட் டெக்னிக்கல் சப்போர்ட், இதை இம்ப்ளிமெண்ட் பண்றதுக்கு யாரை போய் யார்கிட்ட சப்போர்ட் வாங்குறதுன்னு தெரியாம இருக்கலாம். ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி கண்டிஷன்ஸ் எல்லாம் டிபிக்கலா challenges that are faced by MSMEs, and MELS we try to address all these concerns typically with all our customers. So ஒரு typical implementation அப்படின்னு பார்த்தா என்ன செய்யணும், நம்ம வந்து ஒரு மெஷின் லெவல் கனெக்டிவிட்டி அப்படின்னு சொல்லலாம். ஸோ ஃபர்ஸ்ட் வந்து நமக்கு என்னென்ன வேணும், என்ன சிக்னல் வேணும், என்ன டேட்டா வேணுங்கிறத அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட் பண்ணா இது ஒரு டிபிக்கல் ஆர்கிடெக்சர் டயக்ராம் ஆஃப் மெஷின் சைட்ல எப்படி கனெக்டிவிட்டியை பண்றதுன்ட்டு. நீங்க வந்து எக்ஸிஸ்டிங் சென்சர்ஸா இருக்கலாம், இல்ல புதுசா கூட சென்சர் போடுறது. எனக்கு எவ்வளவு ப்ரொடக்ஷன் வந்திருக்கு அப்படின்னு தெரியணும் அப்படின்னா ஒரு கன்வேயர் இருக்கோ ஒரு மெஷின் இருக்கோ அதுல ஒரு சென்சரை போட்டு ப்ரொடக்ஷன் எவ்வளவு வந்திருக்குங்கிறத கேப்சர் பண்ணலாம். எக்ஸிஸ்டிங் மெஷின் ஆல்ரெடி இருக்குன்னா அதில் ஒரு பிஎல்சியோ ஒரு கண்ட்ரோலரோ இருக்கலாம். அதையுமே நம்ம வந்து டேட்டா மூலியமா கம்யூனிகேட் பண்ணி இன்ஃபர்மேஷனை வாங்க முடியும். ஆர் ஈவன் டெம்பரேச்சரோ ப்ரெஷரோ எடுக்கணும்னா கூட அது சென்சர் போடலாம். அண்ட் தீஸ் டேஸ் நிறைய அப்ளிகேஷனுக்கு பார்கோட் தேவைப்படுது. எய்தர் நீங்களே உங்களோட சிஸ்டம்ல ட்ரேசபிலிட்டிக்காக போடலாம், ஆர் உங்க கஸ்டமர் மேண்டேட் பண்ணலாம் தட் எனக்கு ட்ரேசபிலிட்டி வேணும்னு சொல்லி. ஸோ அந்த மெஷின்ல ஹவு டு வி இன்டகிரேட் பார்கோட்? ஸோ இதுக்கெல்லாம் வந்து இப்போ இந்த மாதிரி 6-DIME எட்ஜ் பாக்ஸோ ஆர் எனி அதர் ஐஓடி டிவைஸ், இந்த கேப்பபிலிட்டி இருக்கிற டிவைஸ்ல அந்த டேட்டாவெல்லாம் வாங்கிட்டு அதை we can communicate either through wired network or wireless network through a Wi-Fi router. So இது ஒரு typical machine level connectivity. And இப்போ வந்து என்ன பண்ணோம்னா நாட் ஓன்லி டேட்டாவை ஒரு வாங்கி கொடுக்குற டிவைஸா இல்லாம இப்போ இந்த எட்ஜ் பாக்ஸ் மாதிரி டிவைஸ் சொல்லும்போது எட்ஜ் கம்ப்யூட்டிங்னு சொல்றோம். சில டெசிஷன்ஸை நம்ம அங்கேயே எடுத்துருவோம். எல்லா டெசிஷனையும் பின்னாடி கொடுக்கணுங்கிறதுல அங்கேயே டெசிஷன்ஸ் கூட எடுத்துடலாம். அண்ட் அன்னெசரி டேட்டாவை ரிமூவ் பண்ணி நம்மளால கம்ப்யூட்டேஷன் பண்ணி அலர்ட் கொடுக்க முடியும். ஒரு ஆர்கிடெக்சர்னு எடுத்துக்கிட்டா இப்போ நான் உங்களுக்கு மெஷின் லெவல் கனெக்டிவிட்டி காமிச்சிருந்தேன். இந்த மெஷின் லெவல் கனெக்டிவிட்டி எல்லாமே ஒரு வயர்லெஸ்ல அனுப்பிச்சு ஒரு IIoT சர்வருக்கு பாஸ் பண்ணிட்டு இதை வந்து நார்மலா ஒரு ஆஃபீஸ் நெட்வொர்க் அப்படின்னு பார்த்தா ஐடி நெட்வொர்க், வேற உங்களோட சாஃப்ட்வேர் சிஸ்டம்ஸ், ERP, இமெயில்ஸ் அதெல்லாம் இருக்கிறது உங்களோட ஐடி நெட்வொர்க். அதையும் வாட் வி கால் அஸ் OT, ஆப்ரேஷன் டெக்னாலஜி நெட்வொர்க்கும் பிரிக்கணும். இட் இஸ் வெரி இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் ஃபார் சைபர் செக்யூரிட்டி டு என்ஷூர் உங்களோட ஃபேக்டரி இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் வந்து இட் மஸ்ட் பி சேஃப் அண்ட் அதை வந்து ஐடி நெட்வொர்க்கோட நம்ம மிங்கிள் பண்ணக்கூடாது, போத் ஃபார் பர்ஃபார்மன்ஸ் அஸ் வெல் அஸ் சேஃப்டி. ஆனால் இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் பார்க்க முடியணும். ஸோ ஃபார் திஸ் பர்பஸ் வி ப்ரொவைட் திஸ் கைண்ட் ஆஃப் ஸ்விட்ச் போட்டு வி ஆர் ஏபிள் டு கண்ட்ரோல் தி நெட்வொர்க். ஸோ ஒரு கேஸ் ஸ்டடி பார்க்கலாம் வேர் வி ஹேட் இம்ப்ளிமெண்டட் IIoT ப்ரொடக்ஷன் மானிட்டரிங் சிஸ்டம் ஃபார் ரப்பர் ப்ராடக்ட் மேனுஃபேக்சரர். ஸோ இன் திஸ் கஸ்டமர் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா 16 ஹைட்ராலிக் ப்ரெஸ்ஸஸ் இருந்துச்சு. And all the machines பாத்தீங்கன்னா legacy machines. Okay, PLCs இருந்துச்சு, but there are no communication ports available free ports கிடையாது. And every machine ஒரு operator போட்டுட்டு manually they capture the output and the productivity. எவ்வளோ ஆச்சுட்டு every day, every shift or every few hours ஒரு தடவை அவங்க ரிப்போர்ட் பண்ணணும். And managers வந்து only end of the day reports are available. ஏதோ ஒரு ப்ராப்ளம் ஆயிடுச்சு, தப்பாவே ப்ரொடக்ஷன் நடந்துகிட்டா இருந்தா கூட, குவாலிட்டி ப்ராப்ளமா இருந்தா கூட end of day தான் ரியலைஸ் பண்ண முடியும். அதை இமீடியட்டா ப்ரோஆக்டிவா சால்வ் பண்ண முடியாது. ஸோ இப்போ இந்த மாதிரி சொல்யூஷனுக்கு நம்ம வந்து எவ்ரி மெஷினை ஒரு IIoT டிவைஸோட கனெக்ட் பண்ணிட்டு சிக்னலை வி டுக் இட் அண்ட் தென் அது என்ன பண்ணிட்டோம்னா அது எக்ஸிஸ்டிங் டவர் லேம்ப் இருக்கிறதுலேருந்தே நம்ம சிக்னல் எடுத்தோம். ஸோ கம்யூனிகேஷன் இல்லைனாலும் எவ்ரி சைக்கிள் முடிய டவர் லேம்ப்ல ஒரு கிரீன் லைட் வருது அப்படின்னா அதுலேருந்து வி கனெக்டட் டு த IIoT டிவைஸ் அண்ட் இதுலேருந்து எவ்வளோ பார்ட்ஸ் ப்ரொடியூஸ் ஆகிட்டு இருக்குன்னு ரியல் டைம்ல டேட்டா வந்துகிட்டே இருக்கும். அண்ட் அடிஷ்னல் சென்சரும் தேவைப்படலை. அண்ட் இந்த இன்ஃபர்மேஷனை வி லிங்க் இட் அப் டு த சாஃப்ட்வேர் சிஸ்டம். அண்ட் இதை வந்து இப்போ முன்னாடி காமிச்ச ஒரு ஆர்கிடெக்சர் படி பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஒரு வயர்லெஸ் ரவுட்டர்ல கனெக்ட் பண்ணிட்டு எல்லாத்தையுமே ஒரு லோக்கல் சர்வர்ல டேட்டா வந்துருச்சு. அண்ட் அதுல வெப் பேஸ்ட் ரிப்போர்ட்டிங் கொடுத்துருந்தோம். அந்த வெப் பேஸ்ட் ரிப்போர்ட்டிங் வச்சு எனி டைம் ஃப்ரம் தேர் கம்ப்யூட்டர் மேனேஜ்மெண்ட் ஆர் த லைன் சூப்பர்வைசர்ஸ் ரியல் டைம்ல எவ்வளோ எங்க ப்ரொடியூஸ் ஆகுது அப்படின்னு கண்டுபிடிக்க முடியும். ஐடில் டைமும் அவங்களால மானிட்டர் பண்ண முடியும். ஸோ அண்ட் வெரி காமன்லி இதை கேட்குற ஒரு கொஸ்டின் என்னன்னா, ஓகே இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு சொல்யூஷன் கொடுக்குறீங்களே, இந்த சொல்யூஷன்னால அது எவ்வளோ காஸ்ட் ஆச்சு அப்படிங்கிறது ஸ்டாண்டர்ட் கொஸ்டின் தட் கீப்ஸ் கமிங் அப். ஓகே, ஒரு ரஃப் பட்ஜெட்ரி எஸ்டிமேட் அப்படின்னு பார்த்தோம்னா ஒரு டிபிக்கல் IoT டிவைஸ், ஓகே ஒரு சென்சர் போடுறோம் இல்லை அப்படிங்கிற பிளஸ் ஆர் மைனஸ், இட்ஸ் நாட் அ யூனிஃபார்ம் சேம் பிரைஸ். அண்ட் முதல்ல சுந்தர்ராம் சார் சொன்ன மாதிரி ஒரே சொல்யூஷன் டஸ் நாட் ஒர்க் ஃபார் எவ்ரிபடி, அதுக்கு கஸ்டமைசேஷன் தேவைப்படும். பட் ஒரு டிபிக்கல் இம்ப்ளிமெண்டேஷன் அப்படின்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஒரு இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு இம்ப்ளிமெண்டேஷன் ஒரு IoT டிவைஸ் ஒரு 20,000 rupees, அப்புறம் சர்வர், வைஃபை, நெட்வொர்க் இன்ஃப்ராஸ்ட்ரக்சர்லாம் பண்ணிட்டு ஒரு சர்வர் சாஃப்ட்வேரும் போடலாம். அண்ட் அதுக்கு சேர்த்து ஒரு இம்ப்ளிமெண்டேஷன். ஸோ அபவுட் 13 to 14 lakhs அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு காஸ்ட்ல ஒரு IIoT இம்ப்ளிமெண்டேஷன் ஒரு ஃபேக்டரியில பண்ண முடியுது. ஸோ திஸ் இஸ் ஒன் கைண்ட் ஆஃப் அ சொல்யூஷன். அண்ட் இதே மாதிரி இம்ப்ளிமெண்ட் பண்ணதுனால என்ன ரிசல்ட், வாட் வாஸ் த பெனிஃபிட்ஸ் தட் தே அப்சர்வ் அப்படின்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, the web based software was always showing real time status of machine, production count எவ்வளோ, மெஷின் வைஸ், ஷிஃப்ட் வைஸ், ஆல் டைப் ஆஃப் டேட்டா. அண்ட் ஒரு மெஷின்லேருந்து மோர் தென் ஒரு டயத்துக்கு அவுட்புட் வரல அப்படின்னா ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்கா அந்த மெஷின் ஐடில்னு கன்சிடர் பண்ணிடணும். அண்ட் ஐடில் இருந்துச்சு அப்படின்னு சொன்னா ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்கா அலர்ட்டும் போயிடும், ரியல் டைம் டேட்டாஸ் அவங்களால பார்க்க முடியும். இதுல என்ன மேனுவல் என்ட்ரிஸும் கிடையாது, அதுக்காக ஆளும் அதை போட்டு அதை என்ட்ரி பண்ணி திரும்பி டிஜிட்டலா டிரான்ஸ்ஃபர் பண்ற ஒர்க்கும் கிடையாது. அண்ட் இதோட இண்டஸ்ட்ரி 4.0 இம்ப்ளிமெண்டேஷன் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா மினிமல் இன்வெஸ்ட்மெண்ட் அண்ட் வித்வுட் ஹேவிங் டு சேஞ்ச் த லெகசி கண்ட்ரோல்ஸ், மெஷின் அப்கிரேடும் தேவைப்படல. ஓவராலா பார்த்தீங்கன்னா டு கெட் ஆன் டு திஸ் இஸ் ஜஸ்ட் ஒன் ஸ்டெப். Typically when we talk about IIoT implementation, I keep saying go for baby steps. ஒரே டயத்துல நான் என்டையர் ஃபேக்டரியில எல்லாத்தையுமே IIoT பண்ணணும், இண்டஸ்ட்ரி 4.0 பண்ணணும்னு சொன்னா the project is also very huge. அண்ட் இம்ப்ளிமெண்ட் பண்றதுக்கும் கஷ்டமா இருக்கும். ஆனா ஒரு ரோட் மேப் இருந்துச்சுன்னா ஓகே இவென்ச்சுவலி நான் இந்த இடத்துக்கு வரணும் அப்படின்னு நம்ம ஒரு டெசிஷன் எடுத்துட்டோம் அப்படின்னா stage wise when the target is known we can implement in pockets and we don't need to have a overall solution in place. It can be implemented section wise or area wise. Okay, so given the time I would skip to the end and thank you very much for your patience in listening to me. I thank the organizers once again, and if there are any questions I will take it up in the chat when the panelists handle it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Shivkumar, for that great presentation. You talked about some of the smart factory solutions that you're offering, some of the challenges that MSME faces, and then also taking the audience through the architecture, how OT and IT can be integrated, and finally talking about that case study, what are the typical costs for implementing a solution, and more importantly, what are the results, right? So thank you so much. So we'll take questions to the end of the session. We'll move on to the next speaker. It gives me great pleasure in inviting Dr. Arvind Tilak, who is the CEO of Ascent Intellimation Private Limited. Arvind started his career in the Indian Army and served for 6 years before seeking voluntary release. He was commissioned in the Regiment of Artillery after bagging Brigade of Guards Medal in pre-commissioning training. He has been a member and marketing chair, International Society of Automation, ISA, Pune chapter, past member of IACC India regional team, and is also the founder director of IoT School and chairman of the Ascent Foundation. His interests and activities cover a large canvas, including IT product and services business, international business and strategy, consulting for Indian companies, information security consulting, marketing and sales, mentoring business startups, etc. He's also advised Swiss investment promotion programs for India strategy for about 9 years. Arvind, over to you.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Sunil. It's always good to connect with old friends. And Sunil, thanks for your invitation. Thanks IACC and Government of Tamil Nadu for the invitation. I would quickly go through the solution, but more than the solution, I really want to talk about the implementation issues or the benefits the MSMEs can derive from going digital. But before I start, I really want to touch on one very important subject, and I always talk about this in all the conferences, that in our experience, it's very difficult to segregate an MSME versus a large corporation. We always say that the right candidate for going digital is not decided by the size of the company or the revenue of the company or whether you're an MNC. It is really decided by the culture of the organization and the leadership teams and their appetite for growth. Because digital is all about growth. Digital is all about competitiveness. Digital is all about being relevant tomorrow. And if that growth urge is there in the industry or in the company, it doesn't matter whether you're an MSME or a large company, you are the right candidate. So I would urge all MSMEs really to shed away that baggage of calling ourselves MSME and saying that we have limitations. We really have no limitations. We can export to global markets if we are really capable and really willing to do that. So with this, I would really quickly go ahead with my short presentation. I know, Sunil, I have limited time. Stop me whenever if I start going across. So for us, when we talk to our clients and to future clients and the conferences, we define digital in manufacturing as 3 things: being smart, being connected, and being integrated. Because if these 3 things are happening, then you are really going digital. And what do you derive out of this is the visibility of your shop floor, of your processes, of your people, of your products, of your machines, and all in real time. Moment this visibility is something that we as a product company can give you. You as owners are more than capable of deriving benefits from this data, from this visibility, and converting them to business benefits. I've never seen that as a challenge. What is the challenge is that how do I get this visibility? And that's where the digital tools like Plant Connect that I'm going to present will come to you. What also this visibility gives you is the flexibility. Because you have data at your fingertips in real time, you have control on everything that's happening. You have flexibility of moving things, so processes, products, and everything around that. And this flexibility results into agility, and a digital organization is necessarily an agile organization, and that's what you will become. So all our customers have said that this is the way to do that. This is a very busy slide, so I won't go into too many details of this. I think Sujata would be sharing this presentation with all of you. But what essentially, when we do digital in manufacturing, we do two things. One is that we say democratize data and information. That means take away that power that somebody has. Because I note it down, because I control that report, because I have that data, I'm more powerful. No, democratize the data. Right from the shop floor to the CEO, all information should be available. Of course, access control and all those issues will happen, but democratize data. And the moment you do this, this is like demonetization. Suddenly, everybody is going to be empowered. And what happens at the end of that whole process, I won't go into each point, is that it builds a culture of excellence. And that is what is the most important deliverable for being competitive in the market. So we always say that digital strategy is nothing about product, nothing about anything else. It's about culture of being competitive. And that's what we will deliver to you. We'll be happy to be your partners. And then there are a lot of critique that we hear that is it only a tech fancy? Will it go away? Is it for only big boys or small MSMEs can do that? Can we really define measurable returns from the investments? Will it eliminate jobs? So all these are real questions. But as I said, this is not a take fancy. This is going to stay. All the speakers have talked about it. As I said, this is actually more relevant for the MSMEs because you're already agile. You're already very hungry to do the next step. So it is relevant for you. We can definitely give you measurable returns on the investment that you will do within a span of 12 to 18 months. And that's something that we have done again and again. I don't have time to go into all the case studies that I have, over 50 cases that we have implemented, but I can discuss to you separately. Will it eliminate jobs? No, it will not. It will recreate jobs in a different, I would say, fashion. So there's a lot of resistance on the shop floor that you will find in going digital. But you as the owners or CEOs of the company have this responsibility, because we can give you a great product, but if there is a resistance from the shop floor, the project will not be successful. And do you have anyone who's satisfied with the adoption? Actually, I have one of my customers, Mr. Kale, on the panel, and he will talk about his satisfaction with the product. So I don't have to really answer this question. We are getting somebody to speak about that. So what do we do in smart manufacturing is real-time data connectivity to everything in the manufacturing setup, real-time data analytics and dashboards. I mean, there are multiple dashboards, multiple analytics, and I can talk about that for the whole day, but we don't have time to do that. But essentially, we will facilitate faster decision-making, enhance the key shop floor processes. I mean, digital will help you bridge the gap, plug the loopholes, and increase your revenue, top line, bottom line, everything. And you will have a smart integrated manufacturing ecosystem. That's what our product will do for you. And I'm happy with that. This conference is also talking not about smart factory products like Plant Connect or the previous product that was presented, but also something aside from that, like the logistics, smart HR and other things. So that's the integrated ecosystem of that's going to happen. Total plant and machine coverage is very important. And the previous speaker talked about baby steps, and I completely agree with him. And we also advocate that you need to plan top down. So you need to have a full picture about what you want to do digital, what machines you have, what process you have. So you need to have a kind of a roadmap from 1 to 3 years, because this is a journey. This doesn't happen in one day. But within that top down approach, start from small use cases, small areas where you can prove the results very quickly to the management, to yourselves, to the people that this is here to give you benefits. So what we will cover is all modern machines, process and people. But very importantly, we'll also cover the legacy and old machines, which may or may not have direct connectivity. And this is very important. In fact, my experience is that 90% machines in Indian companies have this challenge, one way or the other, right? Either a cost is involved or the PLC is old. A lot of companies are using machines now with a Chinese PLC. It has its own problems, and I'm sure you are aware of it. We'll also be doing additional sensorization as required, and then giving you the entire picture. And what we do is the line end machine or critical machine. So sometimes it is not really required to monitor from the productivity perspective, every machine, but just look at the end of the line or critical machine, and we'll still give you all those results. And this is what we will do with you. So use cases that we implement, I'm not going to get into all these details, and most of the products or any other product like us will talk about the same thing, but we have a huge bag of or huge basket of use cases that we have delivered on productivity enhancement, and so on and so forth. So real-time OE, APQs, condition monitoring, actionable insights, analytics, everything goes within that. But wherever you're challenged, I mean, one of the things that we will talk about is when we do the top-down analysis, we'll say that which are the low-hanging fruits, or where is your biggest problem. Is productivity your biggest problem, or maintenance is the biggest problem, or whatever else? And we will start with that, because that's where proving results is very easy. So we have a huge basket of productivity related use cases. Talk to us about this whenever you have the requirements. We have huge basket of use cases related to maintenance of the machine, because we are going to enable the machine to talk directly to the maintenance department. Operator not required in between. The machine will tell the maintenance department, I'm down, this is my problem, this is my solution that you did last time when this problem happened, and so on and so forth. And this all is going to be audited, tracked. SLAs for the maintenance departments can be defined and everything. So whole lot of maintenance related activities. And what does mean that the in-time maintenance means downtimes are reduced, costs are coming down, and this ultimately pushes productivity up. And this is very important. So in a way, these are related. A lot of use cases now we are coming across on track and trace, because traceability of the products that you're doing is very important. So we do track and trace, or track within the plant, outside the plant, and so on and so forth. And then we have a remote asset management. So all the machines and assets that you have can be managed essentially remotely or locally. And all these use cases we have delivered. Again, as I said, I may not have enough time to present the use cases or case studies, but Soham Kai will present one of these case studies for you to look at. Apart from the standard use cases of Smart Factory, which we do, we also on top of that give you these modules. Paperless manufacturing. Digitalization is one of the biggest benefits you can achieve by going digital. You can eliminate a lot of paper-based processes and bring in a whole lot of efficiency. We have actually seen that just by doing this, paperless manufacturing, and connecting it to the machines and the processes, you can really start getting benefits right in the second week. And the paybacks are fantastic, right? So paperless manufacturing is a big module that we deliver. This is, of course, an add-on module for us. AI and ML, we talked about this AI and ML. This is a big capability that a product has. This needs a lot of data. But we always say that before we go to artificial intelligence, let's start using human intelligence. Your operators, your supervisors have wealth of knowledge, expertise, and insights the way your plant works. We will also convert that into human intelligence and convert that into what we call as the condition-based processing of the data. We can talk about that again. Predictivity will come, predictive maintenance, predictive quality processes, predictive uptime and everything. So predictive maintenance is again a very important thing, because again, goes back to the maintenance thing, but predictivity coming from AI becomes very important. We are talking of maintenance here, but as I said, quality is an issue and everything. And then we top it up with other systems like a vision system where required. So we have actually implemented 7 or 8 projects with vision systems integrated into Plant Connect. So it's a combined solution that we deliver. So these are the 4 baskets: performance monitoring, which is productivity and everything around that; manufacturing analytics that comes out of it; maintenance, we talked about it; and shop floor workflow. I will, again, as I said, very busy slide. There's not enough time to go into each point, but I think that's really not required. So this is how the architecture of our product is. At the bottom, you will see the shop floor. We call this the OT layer, and this is the IT layer. So we can do, I mean, we have in one company, we have done actually 15 plants. So 1 plant, 2 plants, and 15 plants, but they could be multiple plants. In each plant, there are a number of machines. Now, in your case, maybe you're talking of 1 plant or 2 plants, it does not matter. This is very important. So we have an edge device, we call it DATCON, on which our very powerful solution called RTDAS resides. It has security, it has data storage, it has multi-threading, it has device drivers, it has connectivity drivers, and so on. So a whole lot of things are here available. And this is used to connect to the machines. Now, in some cases, even 3 to 4 machines can be connected to one device. In fact, in case of Soham's factory, we have connected 6 machines to one device because the machine data decides how many datcons you want. And this data goes into the server.
Arvind, sorry to interrupt you.
Yes,
we're running out of time. You can just wrap up in 2
yes,
minutes.
I will do that. Yes, thanks for that. So this is going to be on the server. And once the data is on the server, all the stakeholders will get hold of this. In our case, I'll just take 2 minutes, Sunil, with your permission, because this was a very important point which was brought in our preparation. We offer on-premises solution because sometimes for MSME this is very important, but we also offer cloud solution because this is the shared solution. Costs are, manageable or whatever it is, and we also give in a perpetual license or subscription license. So we are very flexible on the implementation. We are flexible on the subscription and the commercial part of it. So we are open to do that. So with this, maybe I need to wrap up my presentation. These are the functional modules: real-time performance, maintenance, paperless manufacturing, track and trace. I talked about it. Again, we don't have time to show you all the dashboards and everything, but I'm sure, as I said, the presentation will be shared with all of you. So with this, I will stop my presentation. Thanks, Sunil, for the opportunity. Thanks, IACC and Government of Tamil Nadu for this opportunity. And thanks everyone for listening. So I'll stop here. Sunil, thank you, and back to you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Arvind, for that presentation. So at a very high level, I think you covered the important framework, and it's all about being smart, connected, and integrated, the need for visibility, flexibility, and agility. You spoke about the need to democratize data and the information. You talked about some of the benefits of Plant Connect, and also some of the use cases that we are seeing today used in manufacturing environments, and some of the newer use cases that we have started to see. Thank you so much, Dr. Arvind, for that. We'll move on to the next speaker. For that, I would like to invite Mr. Soham Kale, who is the head of sales for Marine Fabrics. Welcome, Mr. Soham. Mr. Soham is an engineer by education. Earlier, he worked for a Swiss multinational in Mumbai and for the Indian Embassy for Sweden and Latvia in Sweden. At Marine Fabrics, they make fishing netting machines. They are the only company in India to do so. They also manufacture fishing nets, sports nets, and agriculture nets, etc. So, Mr. Soham, over to you.
Hi, thank you. Thanks a lot. Is my screen visible to you guys?
Not yet, not yet. We can't see your screen.
Okay, sorry. Just a second. Yeah, is it visible now?
It is. Can you put it in slideshow mode, please?
Yeah. All right. Are we good?
Yes, it is. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Mr. David. Good afternoon to all of you. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Indo-American Chamber of Commerce. We've heard some lovely presentations and speeches and examples by Mr. Sundar and Mr. Tilak, Dr. Tilak, and so on. My name is Soham Kale. I'm quite young. I'm just 29 years old. I don't have much experience in IoT or Industry 4.0, as they say. As Mr. David said, I'm a mechanical engineer by education. I've worked in the public sector and the private sector as well. So mostly I have my experience in sales and marketing and quite lately production, right? So we'll just dive down into the presentation. Mind you, my presentation will not be as technical as they were before. It's just going to be a heart-on conversation, and I'll just explore some of the things that have been through pre-digitalization and post-digitalization of my own factory. Right. So the case in point being an MSME and its promoter, the MSME being our company called Marine Fabrics, and the promoter being me and my father. Right. It's a family-run business. I'm the second generation entrepreneur. We have two verticals of business. Right. The first vertical being we manufacture these machines. Right. And we are the only company in India who have the capability to do so. And since we manufacture these machines, we manufacture the nets as well. So since we're the manufacturers of machines, we have quite a lot of power in our hands to make a lot of changes to the machines, and we likely did so with the help of Mr. Kala, as he said before. So basically, I just want this to be a journey so that you can explore and you can understand from an MSME owner's point of view that what an MSME owner goes through before digitalization and post digitalization, right? So as an MSME owner, we should be planning the expansion of our factory, the 5-year plan of our factory, the execution of our factory, where our factory should be 5 years from now, 10 years from now. But what we end up doing usually is we end up firefighting, right? We have daily problems with our manpower. There is a low profitability, low turnover, and n number of issues, and we have to hire the right team, and we keep on forgetting what is the end goal for us, right? And these were some of the problems that we used to face before. Now our factory, mind you, it's a very we only have 70 employees in our factory. It's a run to mill kind of factory. Every morning I used to come at 9 a.m., leave at 6 p.m. The factory works for 24 hours. Just normal factories as you would think, nothing out of the world, right? So what happens every day in our factory is the operators have a diary, and every hour the operators are supposed to manually input the readings of the machine as to how much the machines have produced, right? At the start of the day, the supervisor would come, collect all the diaries, and then he would calculate the production, then he would input it into the computer, and then I would read it maybe after my lunch or so, right? So, and what happens due to this is the data is not trustworthy. Whatever data I get, maybe because it has gone through a lot of hands, maybe the operator did not write it correctly, maybe the operator did not put the correct downtimes of the machine. So there's always a mismatch between the raw material available in the store, the production that is done on the machine, and the packed goods that are there. So the shop floor isn't that clean as well because of all these problems. Now these problems that we have, they translate kind into a lot of different things, you know. So the problems we used to face that we used to get a very incorrect OEE. Now OEE being your overall equipment efficiency. Now overall equipment efficiency is, suppose your factory is supposed to produce 100 kilograms of your finished goods in an hour. If your factory would only produce 60 kilograms, that means your OEE is around 60% only, right? So what this means is there is a loss of raw material, loss of time, loss of money. So these are all waste. And these are all wastes happening just because you're so manpower dependent, all your systems are so manpower dependent, right? What this also translates into is a higher OCC. Now, OCC being your operating cash cycle. Operating cash cycle simply means the time period between the money you've spent to purchase your raw material and the time between the money you get in when you sell your goods, right? So the time period is the OCC. A higher OCC and a lower OEE means that your profitability is reduced. Your bottom line is taking a hit. Once your bottom line takes a hit, your top line takes a hit, the frustrations increase, the management is frustrated, there are no salary increases, and it's a cascading effect. It's a very vicious cycle, which we faced in the factory before. And this also leads to incorrect decisions. So we knew that these are the problems we have, these are the effects we were having. Probably understanding and realizing that these are the problems we have in the factory is the first step in all of it. And we had to get over it, right? Because we are an MSME, we are kind of the pioneers in this industry, and we are still a small scale industry, which we did not want to be, right? So the first question we asked ourselves, how do we even get rid of these manpower systems, right? Is there any way to just remove all these constraints and not get constrained by constraints, right? And so basically we thought, is it even possible? And if it is possible, is there a lot of initial cost? Will there be a lot of heavy investment in all of this? And basically these are the reasons why we faced the problems, what problems we faced, and why we stayed with the problems. For a lot of years, we did not move ahead with the problem, right? And then what we did was we got in touch with Dr. Tilak, and I expressed my problems with him, and it was with a heavy mind, and I asked him, "Is this even possible? Is this stupid of what I'm asking? I don't want to sound stupid to you." And he said, "No, no, don't worry at all. We've done this before. So you understand what I'm trying to tell you? Things that I thought are impossible to be done, Dr. Tilak or your digital buddies might have already done this. So just take the first step, talk to them, call them up, and maybe it's already done, and it's not that hard, to make your factory digital or make your factory smart." As Elias Lieberman rightly said, that I need no lamp in which a gin may dwell. My common place outdoes is miracle. So what this says is the science and technology that we have today, Internet of Things, Industry 4.0 is nothing short of a miracle what we have, right? And the first question I also asked Mr. Tilak, is it going to be really expensive? And that is because we are an MSME, we are very mindful about our profitability, about the expenses we are having. And to my satisfaction, he said that don't worry, we will work on a pilot basis with not much of a cost. And rightly so, it wasn't a bomb in the pocket. It was quite light on the pocket, and the results we got were phenomenal. I was so happy. Everyone in my factory was so happy. Even the operators and supervisors were happy, right? And this is how we started to have a small change in our mindset, because earlier I used to be only happy with maybe 10% growth, 15% growth in our factory year on year, right? But then we understood that as an MSME, we should be targeting minimum 50 to 100% year on year turnover, right? Then we have the idea of going world class. Since we make these machines, we are the only machine manufacturer in India. There are only 3 other competitors in the world. So why aren't we able to compete with them outside of India, right? So the first step was to be world class, and it's already started showing some results, right? I'll show you the results too. And so you remember the example I told you that every morning the supervisors would come, collect all the diaries, then he would write the production details into the computer, then I would see it. But now what happens with the solutions Dr. Tilak has provided us is, at any point of the day, in any point of the world, all the data is available to me on my laptop and on my phone, right? And all the historical data, I can see which machine is running, which machine is not running, which machine is not running because of what reason. So the manual factor or the arbitrary factor of untrustworthiness is totally removed, right? I have started trusting my employees more. My employees have started trusting me more. Instead of hiring talent from outside, I can just trust the talent inside. You see, going digital or getting these solutions have a very far-reaching effect, right? I only did this so that I can understand if the machines are performing well, but the effects they had are also on HR, which I had never thought of, right? This also took us to understanding how I can reduce my downtime, which machine is not running, why is it not running? Is it because of the operator, or is it because of the machine itself, or raw materials? We got an answer of a lot of problems here. What this also achieved for us is we were able to increase our OEE by maybe more than 30% actually. It's just a very humble figure, 30%. We were able to do a bit more than that. And I think all of you will understand, increasing your production by 30% day on day or month on month is a fantastic feat in itself. We were able to achieve this simply because we were able to control our shop floor quite efficiently. We were able to understand when to order the raw materials. We were able to understand which operators are performing better. We were able to understand which machines are performing better. We were able to understand which products are more suitable for which kind of machines due to all of this, right? And then we increased, so this totally translated into increase our top line and bottom line as well. And a small fun fact, we were able to increase our annual turnover by 45% year on year, even during COVID, right? And so I wouldn't pin all of this success on digitalization, but I think it has to be play a very major part on it, right? And one thing I would like to also tell you that before you get to the digitalization phase, I understand there will be a lot of roadblocks and mental blocks in your mind. I just want to say that get rid of them. Don't even think about it. Just pick up the phone or write the mail to your digital buddies, your possible digital buddies, right? And these are some of the problems or the mental blocks that I used to face before I spoke to Dr. Tilak, right? The first one was, what is digitalization? What is it? Do I need some kind of different software? Will the software cost me 2 lakh rupees or 50,000 rupees? I had no clue. I didn't even know what is the first step, how to even get in contact with someone who's a digital buddy or someone like Dr. Tilak. I think all of you are very fortunate to have Dr. Tilak and a lot of other IoT pros here as well. One thing I really want to tell you is, do not get constrained by constraints that are in your head. Just make the call, because it will really help you. One thing that we've also noticed is the newer generation tends to adapt to this newer technology quite faster than the older generation, because it's quite visible in the factory too right now that my father isn't that comfortable with all of this, but I am. And once I came into the picture, and all of these things went on quite fastly, right? So if possible, maybe add the newer generation to this project, right? And the other thing I used to think that, is this only for large scale industries? Does my turnover has to be more than 150 crores, 200 crores? Really nothing like that. Your turnover can be 3 crores, 10 crores, 50 crores. It's just that where you want to be after 5 years. Do you want to be 150 crores? Then for sure, go for it. If you just want to stay where you are, then maybe this is not the ideal scenario for you, right? And so I think this is my last slide. After this, I'll end it. And this is the stepwise breakdown of the procedure of how I came to this step of digitalization of the factory, or the smart factory as such, right? Because we have a very humble factory. The factory is based on 1 acre, not more than 15 machines in the factory. It's a niche product, right? So first is decide to get in touch with the digital buddies. Then jot down the problems being faced and the wastes of motions and the material around you. Jot down the expectations you have from digitalization and the benefits you expect from digitalization. Explore the opportunities digitalization provides you, right? And never do not be a naysayer. Let them tell you what is possible or not possible. You don't decide for yourself if this is possible in my factory or it is not possible, right? And the last is, it really actually took us only a month for the pilot to be fully functional in the factory. So it was really easy, just 1 month. That is it, right? All right, that's for me. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks so much, Soham, for that presentation. I think a very interesting perspective. You focused and stressed a lot on the mindset change that is needed, especially for somebody who owns an enterprise, right? So you talked about the mindset before digitalization and post digitalization, some of the mind blocks one needs to remove, right? Change in mindsets, very, very relevant. And also thank you for sharing about how well progressed in your digital journey by taking the help of Ascent Intellimation and the benefits that you derived from that. Thanks so much, Soham, for that. Let's move on to the next speaker. It gives me great pleasure in introducing Mr. Adarsh Kumar, who is the co-founder and CEO of Tagbox, an exciting startup helping organizations in controlling their supply chain outcomes by solving problems like product quality and compliance, end-to-end traceability, and operational efficiency. Adarsh is a global analytics leader with over 15 years of experience in providing advanced analytical solutions in the area of supply chain and banking to Fortune 500 companies. Before starting Tagbox, he was part of the senior leadership team at New Sigma, managing a multi-million-dollar portfolio for analytics service delivery. He is passionate about usage of machine learning and AI for solving real-life business problems. Adarsh, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Thanks, Sunil. I hope you can hear me loud and clear.
Yes, we can see you and hear you. Yes, please go ahead.
Perfect. Thanks, Sunil. Thanks, everyone, for joining the session and IACC for inviting me to this forum. Let me just quickly share my screen. I hope everybody can see my screen. So just to give a quick context to everybody, we have been running TagBox for about 6 years. We are providing a very unique solution for supply chain and site operation management. This is basically IoT devices along with real-time software, analytics, and AI, all packaged together to enable very granular live tracking of various entities. And I'll try to talk about it in very simple use cases on what all we are trying to enable for our customers. We are winners of the National Startup Awards this year, multiple awards from NASSCOM and CII, partnered with Microsoft and SAP, winners of Qualcomm Design in India. TVS Motors is a strategic investor in our company, so we are doing a lot of work on the automotive side as well as we grow. There are 3 broad areas where we help: quality and compliance, traceability, and operational efficiency. I'll focus on a couple of areas specifically from an MSME perspective, and I'll try to demonstrate the solution alongside. When we look at supply chains, right, one of the biggest things that typically happens in India is that you would be using marketplace trucks for your logistics requirements, and it is very difficult to track where they are, have they reached the destination on time, and so on. And it's very difficult to get them to comply to GPS monitoring requirements, right? So one of the solutions that we are providing for everybody is, and I will show this. I hope everybody can still see my camera. A small device like this, it's like literally smaller than my smartphone, right? So that's my smartphone, and that's the device, right? So it's smaller than the smartphone. This is a battery powered GPS tracker and traceability device, which I'll talk about in a bit. But essentially, you can charge this device overnight and just send it along with the cargo. So you can actually put it in the cargo area itself. There is no dependence on the infrastructure of the logistics personnel, right? So you will get real-time GPS. This has the capability to last about 15 days on a single charge and give you GPS data every hour. So you will have complete visibility on where the truck is, whether it has stopped in a unauthorized location, is it following the appropriate route, what is the ETA to the final destination, when it reaches the destination, right? Is it in detention, or has it actually went inside the facility, right? Has it delivered the material, and so on and so forth. And we provide this as a pay-per-use kind of a model. There is, when you work with somebody like a TagBox, there is zero capex, right? It is completely a pay-per-use, pay-per-month kind of a service, depending on what you're using. So we will give you the device. So you have to just tell us, here are the shipments that we are going to do, right? You ask for a certain number of devices. We will ship these to you, and you can just use them in your shipments. And then, we will collect it back also from the destination. So there is absolutely no headache with respect to usage of our devices, right? So that's number one use case, where we are looking at GPS monitoring in a completely seamless, almost in an invisible manner, right? Your service provider, 3PL provider, will not even know that they are being tracked, and there is no dependence. So there is no chance of tampering, right? There is no false data. It's always real time GPS data that you will get. That's number one. Second is, if you deal with fragile goods, the same use case can be extended to fragile goods monitoring. A lot of times we see that fragile goods get damaged, right? So for that, we provide sensing devices. So what I showed you was a tracker, a reader earlier. Then we also provide these kind of sensing devices, very small, with like 2-year battery life. Same model, no capex. You can use it on a pay-per-use basis. And if you are facing a lot of difficulty in your supply chain in terms of product damage, we can help you do a study on where that damage is happening. Okay, is it in your handling? Is it in the logistics? Is it on the customer side? Where is the damage happening? Because at the end of the day, all the production, right? You don't want for that to go to waste because of product getting damaged, while it is in the supply chain, right? That is use case number 2. Use case number 3 is more on the shop floor side. I think other gentlemen before me talked about some similar use cases, but we talk about it from a slightly different angle. we typically like to monitor entities which are otherwise very difficult to track. Okay, so for example, let's talk about forklifts. Right, so forklift utilization is a big use case, right? Because typically forklifts will be leased from a supply chain services provider. So whether the forklift is being used appropriately, what does the utilization look like? Where is it on the shop floor? Right? Is the authorized operator riding the forklift or not? These kind of use cases are very interesting. So idle time and so on and so forth. Right. So that's one of the use cases we are solving for. In that use case, we typically provide similar tags which can be put on the forklift. We will install different types of readers in your facility. And then once the forklift is moving inside the facility, you will have complete visibility on where the forklift is. Second, more important use case actually that I can think of, especially from an MSME perspective, there are various types of assets and machines, etc., that you would have bought over a period of time. And when it comes to financial audits, it becomes a pretty big pain in terms of manually figuring out where things are, right? And that problem needs to be solved. So with tags like these, and I'll just show you maybe one of them, very small tags, right? Very thin, very small tags. If you can still see, hopefully you can see on my screen. This can be put on your assets. These are all active tags. This is all, and I'll talk about the technology in a little bit if needed. But basically, once you put these tags onto your assets, you will get visibility on where your asset is. It is very critical because then you can do financial audits, just like that in a breeze. You can also know utilization. So especially your production machines and so on, right? Based on the vibration pattern of the machine, we can detect whether it was on or off and how long it was used. So imagine on a daily basis, you have a very clear view on how much the machine has worked and where it is. So you have visibility, you have availability, and you have utilization data all coming through a single software platform. Additionally, some of our large customers, not MSME, but some of our large customers are also using the technology to monitor people, not from a productivity perspective, but seen a lot of cases. If you look at foundries, right, you have different machines with different levels of skills that are required, and it becomes very important to ensure that the skilled operator is working on the machine. Otherwise, there could be product defects, obviously, and that could lead to returns and recalls and all of those things. So for that, with a similar tag, again, let me just show you again, slightly different, but it has got a button, etc., which I don't know if you can see it here, but this can be given to employees. And then again, using this framework that I talked about, right, there are tags, there are readers, etc., you can actually create a complete digital twin of your shop floor. So you have people, you have equipment, you have machines, you have assets, just by tagging them, right? This happens. And the beauty of all this is all these trackers, etc., come with at least a 1-year battery life. So you don't have to keep recharging it and all that, the ones that are owned by the people or on the forklifts, etc. And that gives you complete live visibility on the shop floor also, right? So those are the 3 main use cases that I want to talk about. I think I already talked about some of this, but just to reiterate, very small devices, right, with 1 to 2 year plus battery life, IP67 can be attached. This works on Bluetooth principle, BLE, Bluetooth Low Energy, right? And then you have readers which can be put in different parts of the plant to start getting live data about what's happening on the shop floor. See, once you know what's happening on the shop floor, that can be improved, and you can actually have better production output. You have lower product defects, better utilization of your equipment, better visibility of your assets, and so on, right? So this is just like a quick example of what I was mentioning, right? An ID tag for a person, a tag for a forklift, and then you have various zones that get created. You get the complete visualization of which asset, which machine, which equipment, which person is present in which zone, how have they moved throughout the day. So if there is any process optimization possible to reduce the time or to improve the flow, the operational flow, that can be done with this kind of an analysis. So just a quick case study, a couple of them, and then I'll close. This is equipment utilization, authorized use. I think I already mentioned this. Material handling equipment or forklifts. This can be, like I said, a tag can be put there. You have appropriate readers set up across your entire shop floor, and then you can track key metrics like daily runtime, shift level usage, time spent by the MHE, which is material handling equipment, right, forklift, etc., at different stations, idle time, real time location, right, automated digital attendance of the staff, visibility during the day, etc., etc. Right. So this is the kind of things that this will power. This has no infrastructure dependence on your ERP or your current technology. We can come into your facility. Like I said, there is no capex involved. So, right, we just come into your facility. We will do some survey. We will install this entire system, and then you are live from day 2. Right. We will give you all the hardware. We will give you the software. Right. There is no requirement for any kind of integration with your system unless there are some specific data points that you need, which can be done. But otherwise, this can operate as an independent system, which your team can learn to operate very, very easily because it's completely wireless and very, very easy to learn. Second thing, like I said earlier, unused assets tracking, right? Knowing where your assets are at any point in time. We create kind of a digital twin of your entire facility. And then within that, you're able to track the assets. And then you can also have appropriate dispositions for the asset, like asset reuse, alternative actions, disposal, all those kind of things can be taken in a much more streamlined manner. Cell productivity, I think, like I mentioned, use case for an automotive parts client, knowing whether the skilled operator is working on the right station or not, how long did they work. The idea here is that, see, if you have product defects, I mean, that may happen, right? But then knowing why it happened, is a particular operator creating a lot more product defects? Those kind of information is very critical, especially from an MSME context, right? It is very difficult otherwise to understand where things are going wrong and how to fix it, right? So that becomes super critical. So I'm going to stop here. I just wanted to, only look at these very specific use cases, which I think can be very relevant for MSMEs, number one. Number two, can be very easily kickstarted, right? You don't need extreme amount of investment or thought process to start getting these benefits, right? Especially, because like I said, there is no capex involved. You can just get started with us on, to tomorrow if needed, right? So that's basically what I had. Thanks everyone for listening patiently. If there is, obviously, I think we have some Q&A later. If there are any technical questions or any other questions that you would like to do, we can take that at that point in time. Okay, thanks everyone. Back to you, Sunil.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Adarsh, for that presentation, sharing with us specifically areas where your focus is around quality and compliance, end-to-end traceability and operational efficiency. Thank you for taking us through also some of the case studies around how do you reduce your product damage, how do you manage fragile goods, and especially interesting about the man-machine intersections. You spoke about real-time asset tracking and utilization, and especially the forklift example, another material handling equipment that you can track in terms of its location and utilization and so on. And I think one thing which really struck me is when you mentioned that you really don't have to depend too much upon the infrastructure, the fact that you're using wireless, the ease of implementation. I think that's so important because many times people struggle with implementation, and the fact that you made it so easy in terms of sharing that, you can implement it, get started very fast. Thanks so much, Adarsh, for that. Let's move on to the next speaker, Mr. Sandeep Raut. Sandeep, welcome to the session. And let me introduce Mr. Sandeep. He is the founder and CEO of Going Digital. Sandeep is the digital transformation, analytics, big data, mobility, and IoT evangelist. He brings with him over 34 years of IT strategy, consulting, and delivery experience. Spearheaded digital transformation consulting assignments, founded, built, and grown the digital transformation, analytics, big data practices. His experiences in BFSI, travel, health, care, retail, and manufacturing industries, spearheaded over 20 plus IPs and 15 plus industry solutions, and grown the digital practice over $140 million. He's also been featured in the top 10 digital transformation influencers that will change your world. So earlier presentations are largely focused on what's happening within the factory, but I think you're going to have a very interesting perspective now in terms of how one can leverage digital marketing in terms of how you position your products and services, how you can help your customers through their entire journey. Sandeep, over to you.
Thank you, Sunil, and welcome all. All the four speakers, I must say, have shared fantastic case studies and use cases. But it's really important also to spread them out in front of your prospects and customers. And that's where I come in. I have helped businesses on digital marketing strategy as well as digital transformation roadmap. So I will quickly get into the digital marketing part of it. Sunil has already talked about this, so I'll skip the slide about my format or experience. So digital marketing, obviously, it's not just advertising. Many people feel we will do some advertising and that's digital marketing. It's not so. There is art and science. It's not just also the promotions, talking about sale, and sale. That's also not true. It's like calling your guests for dinner. I mean, why I am saying this is because here what your guests are, what their likes are. Someone likes vegetarian food, someone likes non-vegetarian food. They could be having desserts choices, drinks choices, so on and so forth. So each and every guest who is coming to your house for dinner, what are their likes and dislikes. So digital marketing is same unless and until your target group, your audience, whom you are advertising, whom you are sending your campaigns, it's not going to work your way. So ensure that your target audience and only then jump on this digital marketing. Obviously, again, I talk about it's like sending a communication to your audience with right message, obviously to the right audience and right channel. So 3 R's are very important in digital marketing. Right message, what you want to communicate, right audience, again, very, very, very important aspect of it, and right channel, choose the right social media platform or whatever way you want to market. So 3 R's, keep that in mind. Then obviously marketing has been changing a lot since birth of internet. People used to do traditional marketing, radio, television, commercial, hoardings, physical marketing, so on and so forth. But now it is changing. Gone are the days when yellow pages were our search engine. We used to search or look for the business phone number and things like that. YouTube, TV was our YouTube at that point of time. I mean, all the television commercials or anything which we used to watch, that's kind of YouTube for us. Magazines were our blogs because people used to read so many different kinds of magazines, whether they were industry magazines or films or even the storytelling, comics magazines. So those were kind of our blogs. And the newspaper advertisements, like all these small advertisements, classifieds, what we used to call them. Nobody normally goes, or very few people will be going to newspaper to look at the advertisement. We all are on our mobile most of the time. So digital has changed all the things. Internet has changed so many things going forward, and that's why digital is different than your traditional marketing. I mean, if you are going on an expressway, any of your expressway, let's say Mumbai, Pune, or anyone such like within India, you will see lots of hoardings, lots of big banners. But how many of those people who are looking at those banners are your customer, right? Any drivers, they may not be the customer. So that's where digital is different. You now have the ability to select your target audience. It is not a machine gun firing, but a sniper. I just want that kind of person to be seeing my ads. That's where digital is totally different than traditional marketing. Here are some of the objectives and how the pyramid works. I mean, whenever a new company a startup or any such brand which comes up, people are not aware of those brands, and that's where then digital marketing helps in terms of recognition, brand recognition. So people will start understanding that you exist. Now, if you look at Himalaya or Tresemme or any such products, consumer products or any such thing, you will recognize them because you have seen somewhere, you have seen their advertised things like that. Then you move up the value chain and come to the brand recall phase. Now, recall phase, obviously, if I want to eat a burger, McDonald's come to my mind, or if I want to buy shoes, then Nike comes to my mind first. Similarly, Lux, Coca-Cola in their own way, right? Recalled by the customer. So that is a brand recall phase.
But the ultimate objective or aim of digital marketing should be top of the mind awareness of the customer. You have to reach that stage by using your digital marketing. So you can think about Bisleri as a mineral water. We normally ask Bisleri to any shopkeeper, and they may give you a local, manufactured water or anything. But the brand Bisleri has stuck to our mind. Same way Cadbury, Xerox. So how many years we have been using Xerox instead of photocopy? Current age, students and children don't even know that photocopy is the word for that. It's actually people will go there and say, okay, give me 2 Xerox, 10 Xerox, and so on and so forth. Google, same way. Nobody says now search the internet, right? We say Google it. So this is where you need to reach by using your digital marketing. And that's what I help businesses achieve. So it's time to accept digital marketing. Obviously, you continue with your traditional, but digital marketing is the way to go. But it should not be boring. And that's what I again tell businesses, because many companies will just keep on talking about sales and their product, their features, and how and what they are bringing to the table. That should not be the case. And for this, I follow 2 of the best India's brands. Fevicol, all of you may also know this. So they ran a Twitter hashtag campaign, My Fevicol ad contest, and they asked people to send a photograph where Fevicol is somewhere in the background and something funny happening. And no better picture than this, right? Mumbai's crowded train and people are not falling down because Fevicol is there. So this picture actually won an award by Fevicol. The other brand I follow, again, all of you know, Amul, the taste of India, or utterly butterly delicious. Their taglines are also so captive, neuro-linguistic programming anchor, what we normally say. So for any current situation, they will create a cartoon, they will bring in the humor, and that's how you remember the brand. So you understand the idea. You don't talk about sale. You don't say to customers or prospects, buy our product and services. You make them buy, right? So you need to be on top of their mind with use of digital marketing. Now, most of the time I get this question, how much budget we should have? And for MSMEs or even corporates, typically, if you are a new brand or new company, then about 12 to 20% of your yearly gross revenue should be kept out for marketing. So that could be, let's say, if you are a 10 lakh per annum revenue, then at least 1 lakh should be kept aside, right? 10%, or you can keep, 20 lakhs aside, or 2 lakhs aside. Sorry, not 1 lakh, 1 lakh and 2 lakh, kind of 12 to 20%. But again, you split between them, because traditional, you may need some stationeries, some cards, and you may attend some exhibitions. So you need some traditional market. But your digital marketing, wallet share should be 80%, more than what you normally must have exploited so far. Then when you are established more than 5-6 years and things like that, then you can reduce your marketing budget to 6 to 12%. So this is a ballpark number. Again, I normally talk about these numbers, but you can again customize it whatever way you want. The main point is your target audience and benefits of your products. What solution you are giving, what problems you are solving, that has to reach out to your customers. So best of all, you cannot just go on LinkedIn and Facebook, which many again companies do, that do post LinkedIn pe dalna hai, one post on Instagram and we are done. No, that is not the case. So you have to have a strategy. And that's what I will quickly cover in this 6 steps. So typically you have to have a website. Website is like your digital showroom. I mean, you may have a physical office, and there was one of my customer, she used to take only 50 lakhs and above interior design work. So she obviously had spent more than 40-30 lakhs on her office. Now understand, I asked her how much or how many customers you get in your office in a month. So she had said about 10, 20, max 30 or something like that. So I asked her, what about your website? There are thousands of customers and prospects who are looking at your brand. What happened to them? Then she realized that, yes, this is the power, because without even marketing, people are coming to your website and they are looking at your brand, they are looking at your products, services, and making an impression. So you have to have an engaging website. Then you need to do a search engine optimization. It is a little technical term, but basically everybody is on Google, right? Most of the people are searching on Google. So your Google should like your website. So there are some parameters which you need to tweak on the website, which will help you do the search engine optimization. Meaning, if anyone is searching for your product services like IoT, smart factories, then your company should come on the first page. That's important, and that's what Google will do only when you do SEO. Then obviously third step is the content marketing. Content meaning what all you are putting on your website. So many again businesses and companies have a we language. We are the best in the world. We are doing this. Our products and services are top of the line and this and that. So they brag about themselves than talking about the problems which they are solving for the prospects and customers. So your content should be you language. What will you get when you come to us, right? That's kind of language. And obviously then there are infographics, social media creatives, videos, podcasts, multiple types of contents, more than 30 plus. When I conduct the master class on digital marketing, I keep talking about that. So more than 30 types of contents you can create, which will help you market. Then the 4, 5, 6 are execution steps. Email marketing. Again, many CEOs said, Sandeep, we are using WhatsApp now. We are digital. We don't want to go email way. But that's not a right thing, because email is extremely important in today's age also. If you are a 10-year-old company, how are you keeping your first customer 10 years back updated about your product and services? That's where email marketing comes into picture. You need to keep them updated, feed them all the time, because getting business from existing customer is very easy compared to get a new customer. So you need to keep your existing customers and your brand should be on their top of mind. So that's where email marketing helps. Social media, again, you choose a platform which one is much suitable for you. Understand whether LinkedIn is good, Instagram is good, Facebook is good, depending on your products and services. And then go for paid marketing. If you are launching something as a product or a new geography, new products, new territories, anything new you are doing, then go to paid marketing, which is where you pay to this platform, whether it is Google, whether it is YouTube, whether it is LinkedIn, Instagram, so on and so. So this is a 6-step strategy I actually create for the businesses, and obviously will be happy to help anyone who wants to get into this and understand how they can benefit by doing the digital marketing strategy. Now, as all these speakers talked about a lot of use cases and examples, I thought I might as well give you some examples. And here again, the two brands, see the way they market. Fevicol, कल के मजबूत जोड़ के लिए आज थोड़ी दूरी मेंटेन करो ना. This was in the lockdown time period. So now you remember the brand, right? With this witty humor. Same way, Amul, when Trump was the president, there were a lot of hassles with the World Health Organization. So they created this kind of image or creative, which again actually help us remember the Amul brand. So that's really important. Third one, Kotak 811. This is India invited. So anyone in India can open a Kotak 811 bank account. And Ranveer Singh did that. Obviously, more than 10 million people were reached. But the point is, how are you reaching to those prospects and customers? Very simple video, very simple ad, YouTube, and also TV commercial. But that had helped market their account opening, zero balance account opening. Again, like other banks, where when they are actually asking for more than 10,000 rupees per month as a average balance, this bank is asking you to open bank with account with zero balance. So that's how they got into the competition and won the competition. And now they are one of the great digital bank, because they actually started the Twitter hashtag related services. So customers can send a Twitter hashtag to Kotak Bank and they will come to know about their bank balance or anything questions they may have. So this is really a good way of doing a customer service via using digital. And many speakers talked about going digital. That's what I do. So it's a really good idea to get on the digital bandwagon. Now, somewhere I thought, since all of you are here to understand how digital can be used for yourself when you are marketing in USA, I thought I will put one slide. So obviously, do not market for entire US geography. It's a huge country. Whether you are doing it for USA or India, any location, you choose select few states. Select the location properly and select only those locations where you feel you will get business. Obviously, then choose the platforms. So if you are a product-based company, then Facebooks and Instagrams will be a good platform where you can showcase. Instagram is a picture medium. Whatever product you show in a very fancy manner, people would like to understand. But if you are a services company, services industry, then LinkedIn, where white collar people, white collar crowd is there, you can target through their job titles, and many other parameters are available. So LinkedIn is the best platform there. Develop a targeted online marketing campaign. When I say targeted, don't just select entire, as I said, right? Again, even California, even New York or something like that. If you are marketing, select a particular province or district within those things and select the age group, select the behaviors, select the job titles, select their interests. So you create a target group which is narrowed down. Don't just market for all the people in that territory also. Then obviously your content has to be so good that it should appeal to the interest of these US customers, because you are marketing for US. And finally, you need to have something as a measurement. So how many people are coming to your website via your digital marketing? You have to have a Google Analytics or some website analytics tools which are readily available, and understand where the traffic is coming from, which platform is sending a lot of traffic, which landing pages people are going. Landing pages meaning any product page you are marketing, any particular event page you are marketing, any service you are marketing should have a separate page. Don't call people to your xyz.com. Your home page is not the page to be called. Remember this point 100 times. Keep that in mind. Never call a person on your home page, because that has lot of other things. You may have your company background, about services, and so on and so forth. Always call the people to your target page or landing page, where that product or service is explained in a very simple manner, obviously with the you language, and explaining what problem it is solving. Don't say we have so many features and this and that. Don't boast or brag your product or service, but talk about what benefits the user, the reader, the visitor will get when they buy your product and services. So this is a simple, quick rundown of what people should do when they want to market in US. So I think that's all I quickly wanted to cover in this digital marketing stuff. Obviously, any questions you may have, please feel free to ask, or you can even connect later. Thank you very much. Back to you, Sunil.
Thanks. Thank you so much, Sandeep, for that very insightful presentation. I like the way you started by showing that a picture of food, inviting guests home, wanting to customize food for someone. So I think that message was very clear, right message to the right audience, to the right channel.
Yeah.
You spoke about the 6 steps when it comes to digital marketing strategy, content marketing, SEO.
Yeah.
Very good website that is important, email marketing, social media, paid marketing. And then I love the examples of Fevicol and Amul and Kotak. Sandeep, thank you so much for that. And also, I think you mentioned which is the best platform to promote what. For products, you mentioned Facebook and Insta is good. For services, LinkedIn. So thanks so much, Sandeep, for that presentation. So we move to the last presentation now. And for that, I would like to call upon Mrs. V. Subba Malini. Unfortunately, Mr. Shaktivel was supposed to present. He had a personal emergency. He couldn't make it. So I would request Mrs. V. Subba Malini, who is the lead MSME business facilitation, trust sector and country desk, to share her thoughts. She has earlier worked for KLA Tinker for 6 years, and she has got very good experience in the semiconductor field. She's a graduate from NIT Trichy. So Mrs. Subba Malini, over to you.
Thank you all for attending the webinar. So I'm Subba Malini, State Business Facilitation Officer of MTIP. So what is MTIP? So many of you know and few may not know. So MSME Trade and Investment Promotion Bureau. So here MTIP was established in 2019 and with an intent to promote trade, export and investment promotion in the MSME sector. So we support MSMEs in various aspects, like discovering new market opportunities, and we basically help in internationalizing the MSMEs and smoothening government clearances, and like we provide new and innovative solutions for bottlenecks in regard to the technology, finance, and management. So we all know like MSME plays a vital role in economic development, and MSME provides the largest employment opportunity next to agriculture sector. So with this intent in mind, government of Tamil Nadu has promoted this bureau, MTIP, to help MSMEs in the problematic areas. We do provide supports and services to MSMEs. So I would like to take you through the slides to help understand what MTIP is providing.
We can't see your slide deck yet.
Can you hear? Can you see now?
Yes.
Please put it in slideshow mode.
Yes. Is it?
No, we can't see anything. If you're having a problem trying to present in slideshow mode, maybe you can try the reading view. That will be better. Try the reading view.
Okay.
Okay, much better now. Please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. So we do branding services, marketing services, and financial services for MSME. So what is branding services? Like MSMEs always have this pain of branding, and say, for example, few of our MSMEs do not know what is the international standard or what the better standard for marketing their product. So for that, we link an MSME with some good consultants or with a good service provider for providing website, brochures, and pamphlets for branding their products. So next is the marketing service. So how do we provide marketing service? So many of the buyers or the sellers do not know where to buy and where to sell their products. So we do linking of buyers and sellers. And next is like financial services. So MSME have always got the pain of working capital. So for that, we have a scheme called Tamil Nadu Credit Guarantee Scheme, TN TREDS, Trade Receivable Discounting System, and few MSMEs always get the pain of delayed payments or defaulters. For this, we have MSME Samadhan, where the MSME who are really affected can walk into our office, and our MSHC Council will help them to solve the problem. And the most important next thing is single window portal. So most of the industries always get a pain of have problems about the clearances. So MTIP has an energetic team who work background for getting the clearances and approval done for the industries. So I would like to take you through the details of the services. So how can an MSME avail this thing? So it is as simple as that. It must have an Udyam registration. So what is Udyam registration? So it is Udyam registration helps the MSME to open to get the services provided by government of India and Tamil Nadu. So we have with this Udyam registration, MSME can get chances to participate in buyer-seller meet and attending, and we ensure that MSME gets attendance in the exhibition events and virtual pavilions, and availing the credit guarantee schemes and single window portal clearance and approvals, and onboarding on the digital platform, and availing schemes and subsidies from MSME department. So, and also with the Udyam registration, the MSME will get to know about the new activity schemes and events on time-to-time basis. So MSME awards. So this is like MSME really work hard to play important role in our country. So to recognize and appreciate the contribution of MSME to the state economy, we provide MSME awards in various categories like agro-based industry, women entrepreneur, and best entrepreneurs, best quality of exports, best performing banks. All these are state level awards. So I was talking about industries facing problems in clearances and government approvals. So this is a single window portal helps the industries, MSMEs to get clearances and approvals in a single click. So all you need is an Udyam registration and apply your the clearances in single window portal. So we have 26 line departments where you may really need 168 approvals and clearances. So it is really a pain area for the industry to walk into all departments and get the clearances done. So MTIP facilitates this single window portal. So MSME has a focused 10-member team aligned with the line department who ensures the approvals are processed on time. So this would include DTCP, CMDA, PCB, agriculture, and many more departments. And next is the MSME Samadhan. So I was saying about the delayed payments and defaulters. So MSFC Council. So this is an arbitration council where MSME can just walk in and register a case against the defaulted buyer. So Government of Tamil Nadu, the Commissioner of Industries and Commerce conducts weekly hearings to resolve the defaulted payments. TNCGS. So this is also a credit guarantee scheme where 90% of your loan up to 40 lakhs is guaranteed by Government of Tamil Nadu, and 80% of the outstanding loan will be guaranteed by Government of Tamil Nadu, which is like up to 40 lakhs to 2 crores. So this is mainly based on customized credit rating score. This is really a paperless online scheme of the Government of Tamil Nadu to enable you to get a loan covered by the government. This is really a rare scheme. Our Government of Tamil Nadu is facilitating this. And next is the trade receivable discounting system. In this, MSME always have a pain of getting payments like 3 to 4 months. This will really affect the working capital of the MSME. For this, MTIP helps in facilitating MSMEs to get their payment within 5 working days, which really would not affect the working capital of MSME. So this will be soon launched by our CM, Honorable CM, during the August 15th function. So this is one of the unique policy of MTIP, like sponsorship policy. So we were talking about internationalization of MSME. So MSME always wanted to know the technologies available inside the country and outside the country. Say for example, a person in Tamil Nadu, a poor MSME, wanted to know a technology which was exhibited in China. We all know most of the Google would not work in China. So he really wanted to participate in the exhibition. So for that, our MTIP sponsors the MSME in their for their stay and flight fare. This is really This really helps MSME to take part in exhibition, or if you can justify that what an MSME can get by participating in an exhibition, you will definitely get shortlisted in the sponsorship policy. And we request all the MSMEs to apply for this and get the real essence of it. And this is under the discretionary power of the managing director of MTIP. And next is the microcluster development scheme, where here this is one of the unique scheme introduced in like 2022-23 budget, where in this microcluster development scheme, the cluster will be funded. The cluster will be funded for the machinery and electronic hardwares, common facility centers, and for the land where the cluster wanted to be located, and some exposure visit, and even like hiring of consultants and professionals for legal assistance. The microcluster development, the fund for microcluster development scheme can be used. So in India now, the trust sector is booming, and to make the positive impact on for the MSMEs in the relevant sector, so sector desks are provided in MTIP, where the sector experts are called and given talk on the sectors, and this association, linkage of association and industry bodies are made, and introducing MTIP, and this sector person will act as a single point of contact for various sector related activities. And we also do linkages with international banks and national banks for the funding opportunities, and like market linkages, buyer seller meets, exports, and external engagement with various consulate generals and development of the sectors. So we also have like country desk for MTIP, creating collaboration between foreign countries and MSMEs of Tamil Nadu. So this is like identifying partner countries and identifying potential demand for the products of MSMEs, and areas of potential collaboration. I was talking about areas of potential collaboration. This includes like exchange programs and getting to know about the standards of foreign countries, so that our MSMEs will manufacture a product on international standard, like training programs, R&D exchange. When for the R&D exchange and the training programs, we had linkages with countries like Germany, France, US, Thailand, Singapore, where they are really ready and excited to conduct various training programs. So MTIP has multiple MOUs signed to provide such support. So I was talking about trust sector. So Government of India and Tamil Nadu together has introduced like 24 trust sector, where this trust sector is a booming sector, where like if these trust sectors are guided rightly, our India would really go in extremely fast pace. So the previous speakers who spoke about me, who spoke before me, spoke about like technicals and technologies of Industry 4.0 and presented excellent case studies. They are like really amazing case studies. Thank you, the panel. I really wanted to thank the panelists for breaking the ice, where MSME was having so many questions about this Industry 4.0. So we all know, right, like 21st century is the era of rapid change of technology, interconnectivity, and smart automation. Like Industry 4.0 has taken advantage of the rapid change to increase the productivity. So for Industry 4.0, we will have these these stakes like measurement and analysis, smart machine monitors, plant monitors, data logging and analysis, and dashboard and reports. The panelists really explained well about all these stakes. So for the trust sector from MSME and MSME department, you have like 25% of special capital subsidy to the 24 trust sector. And one among this is Industry 4.0. This can be like, so usually there are like category A, category B district, but this 25% special subsidy is available to the enterprise located anywhere in the state and subjected to a maximum cap of 150 lakh. And if it is like micro unit for the manufacturing, you can avail this 25% special subsidies, capital subsidy. And if it is like new and small and medium enterprise, you can avail the 25% subsidy, whether it, no matter it is like manufacturing or service unit, you can avail for both. So apart from this, if you really wanted to know about the schemes, various schemes like new entrepreneur development scheme and Prime Minister employment generation scheme, unemployed youth generation employment generation scheme, and we have like 11 categories of incentive schemes like capital subsidy, power tariff subsidy, and back-end interest subsidy, payroll subsidy, and promotion of energy audit. Like energy is like more talk of the town these days. So for this, like to do this energy audits, we have a scheme called PEACE, which is like promotion of energy audit and conservation of energy, and reimbursement of quality certification. So this quality certification is one of the shortfall of MSME. Most of the MSME would create product like God's gift, but they really lack quality certification. So just get the quality certification and get the reimbursement done from the district industry center. And another like stamp duty and registration fee, you have incentive subsidies, and patent registration, trademark registration, GI tag registration, all these you have incentives, and subsidies for fundraising from capital markets, which is like listing of companies in BSE and NSEs, and 25% subsidy for the cost of generators. And so all these would be avoid all these can be availed from district industry center, or you can just walk to our MTIP. So all these schemes, so district industry center is a main point of contact in each district to avail the scheme. So if you have any questions regarding any schemes or support from government for your MSMEs, you can please contact us. You can come to our MSME office, or you can walk into DIC. We have a representative sitting in each district. They will clarify your doubts. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Subhamalini, for sharing your thoughts on this and talking about firstly the importance of the MSME as it relates to India's economy. They are the backbone of India's economy, so to speak. You spoke about some of the initiatives from MTIP, Government of Tamil Nadu unit, talking about services that you're offering around branding and financing services, which is so important because working capital requirements of MSMEs have to be taken care of. Talked about the single window clearance, and then you also took us through things around Udayam registration and the Samadhan and the TN credit guarantee scheme. You spoke about TREDS. So thank you so much for sharing your insights. I'm sure a lot of takeaways for the MSMEs listening on this session. With that, we are done with the presentation by the speakers, and we now move to question and answers. You have all the speakers. So if anyone has a question, can you please post it on the chat window? So while we wait for somebody to post their question on the chat window, we had one question which I noticed has not been answered yet, and that was question was from Rajarajan Balasubramaniam. He was wanting to know typical pain points faced by MSMEs. I think that was covered to a certain extent by some of the previous speakers, but anyone wants to take a shot at that? Any other pain points that have not been covered?
Can I take that on, Sunil?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So the pain points, the pain points MSME has, or any company which is wanted to go digital, are the same thing as to where to start. That's the biggest discussion. But more importantly, they always face a challenge on the connectivity side, because MSMEs still find challenging, or our experience at least is that the machines are not the most modern. There are companies who will say if you have OPC, will connect and things like that. So if connectivity is your biggest challenge, that can be solved. That's not an issue. But the challenge is to get data, and that is what MSMEs and any other company faces. But once the data is there, product like ours will help the MSMEs, get what they want. So I think if I have to flag one big challenge is this, and the second big challenge is of course the mindset. And I think Soham talked about that. I think enough has been discussed on that. But so they themselves have to step up. I mean, if you want to start a journey, who will do that decision? It's you who have to do the decision. So if you do that decision, I think everything else is in place, available.
So I have a question for for the gentleman who asked this question. Was he asking what are the pain points in implementing IoT, or are you asking what are the pain points for an MSME for which IoT can be a solution? So I'm not clear what the question was.
Yeah, so the question was, Mr. Sundaram, it was not specific about IoT. The question was typical pain points expected from MSME in their
for which IoT could be a solution. Is that the question?
As they digitize their factory, what would be the typical pain points expected from MSMEs, especially the manufacturing?
The question was, in order to digitize their factory, what would be the pain points? Meaning that I have all these pain points which would be solved by digitizing my factory. That could be one question. The other is, when digitizing my factory, I will encounter a number of pain points in implementation. That could be another question. So they are two completely different questions. So I'm not clear what the question was that was asked.
I'm just reading the question again. It was.
You can ask the gentleman. He can.
Rajarajan, I'll just read out what he's mentioned here, Mr. Sundaram. He says that we see various use cases based on factory which needs to be digitalized. I would like to hear typical pain point or use cases expected from MSME. So that was the question. So I guess it was more related to when they are digitizing within their factories, what are the pain points? I think that's
okay. That's fine. That Dr. Tilak has answered, I think.
Anyone wants to add to what Mr. Tilak mentioned? We are run out of time. Sujata, can we take another question?
Yes, sir, we can. Anybody would like to raise your hands and take up questions? Please feel free to do it. In the meanwhile, I would request all the panelists to have your video mode. We'll take one quick picture.
Is that part of digital marketing?
Yeah, it is all
branding.
Branding. It's all about branding and presence.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Thank you all. Since I don't see much of a question.
Sujata, one sec. Sorry to interrupt. So we have circulated a Google form. So if people can fill the Google form, it will take 1 minute or so. If the participants can fill it, please fill the form. I posted it in the chat box for a survey kind of thing.
Sure. Absolutely. I think people have noted it, and so request participants to complete the survey form given by MTIP and submit it online. And MTIP will take it forward from here. I think, Sunil, we can go ahead and wind up the session. What of this?
Okay.
Right. Thank you.
Okay, Sujata. So thanks, Sujata. And it was a wonderful session overall. I think we kind of covered a lot of areas. We covered about factory automation, digitalization within the factories, great use cases that was shared by Mr. Tilak, Mr. Shiv Kumar, They talked about their own capabilities and what they have done for their customers. Actually, we started off really well with Mr. Sundaram giving his keynote, talking about what are the benefits of digitalization, what are the challenges, and also talking about some of the use cases which they have implemented within their factory in Lincoln Electric. Then, of course, we had a session from Adarsh talking about. Sorry, before we had the Adarsh presenting, we had a very nice end user perspective that came from Soham from Marine Fabrics. And I like the way he stressed upon the fact that it's mindset that needs to be changed. The mind blocks have to be removed when it comes to adoption of digitalization. Very, very relevant point that you have made, Soham. Not sure whether you're there. We then had others talking about what TagBox is doing in the IoT space, and especially around supply chain, and also use cases in the man-machine intersection. How do you track assets? How do you track its utilization? And making sure that people with the right level of skill is using the right machine. So that was great. And then finally, we had Mr. Sandeep talking about digital marketing. How does one position their products and services to their end customers? How they can be with them through their whole journey. And then finally, we had Subhamalini talking about MTIPB and what are the various services that they are offering to various MSMEs. I think very, very important aspects that you touched upon, especially related to financing and so on. So on that note, we would conclude the session. But before that, I would like to present the vote of thanks. Firstly, I would like to thank all the speakers. Firstly, Mr. Sundaraman, the MD of Lincoln Electric India, Mr. Shivkumar Srinivasan, who is the CEO of Mel Systems. We like to thank Dr. Arvind Tilak, CEO of Ascent Intellimation, Mr. Soham Kale, Head of Sales from Marine Fabrics. Thanks to Adarsh Kumar, co-founder and CEO of TagBox, Mr. Sandeep Raut, founder and CEO of Going Digital, and Mr. Subhamalini from MTIPB. I would also like to thank Prabhu Bala, the Vice Chairman, IACC, Mr. Sujata Ravishankar, the Regional Director of IACC, and the rest of the IACC team for putting this wonderful event together. Thanks to all the participants for registering and joining the session. I hope you found the webinar useful and have enough to take back, and hopefully this will trigger the start of the digital journey for those who have not started, or maybe accelerate your digital journey for those who have already made a start. So on that note, I would like to end, and the session is now over. Thank you so much for joining in.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
And all,
Thanks a lot.
thanks for your participation.
Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you all.